if you're gonna take.
But look, I just want to say, listen, yo, Tehuti is a close brother of mine, excellent scholar. You know, y'all better watch out because he's gonna be straight chopping some heads off.
Man, you got props from a Hebrew, bro.
The oldest known spiritual book to speak on the afterlife.
Get that Palo Santos burning. Start burning that Palo Santos and that sage together. You mix them together in the bowl. You know what you need? Some frankincense oil in there. Oh my goodness. With the bud seed bar. Oh man. It's on.
The Per M. Haru.
Coming to you live. He has been teaching for over 20 years. A 9-0 record in official public recorded debates. You've heard many teachers out there before in the so-called conscious community, but none with the demeanor, calmness, and detail as Tehuti Amun-hotep Ra on such topics as breaking out of the matrix, truth on religious origins, underground conspiracies, secret societies, mental, physical, and spiritual health, the Anunnaki, the Neteru, Kemet and the origins of Mad, meanings and symbolisms of Meduneter, the only one who will stand in front of question of this wide range of subject matters, answer, question, and debate. Some have podcasts, but Tehuti is the teacher, so he has a Podclass. Subscribe to the channel for updates, classes, and much more. Join the chat, call in, participate live. Get your notepads ready. Welcome to the Tehuti Podclass. Open your mind.
Greetings everyone. Mic check. How is everyone doing today? Let me fix the mic, fix the camera, back a little bit. Wonderful. All right, awesome. Hope everyone is doing well. Let me get into the comments and welcome everyone in to yet another Tehuti Podclass. This is Zebra. Zebra says peace to everyone. Greetings, and yes, on my hat, who hasn't been seen in a while, that is Neith. Neith is on the hat. Zebra is in the hands. Okay. Peace. Let's see who's in the room. And press 1 if you can hear me clearly. We got F.U. Bill Gates with the 3 snakes. Greetings. Peace. We're going to go start from the top. We got welcome Tehuti Heru. Welcome Tehuti Heru. Jeru says this is the place to be. Yes, this is the place to be. Greetings. Jaimio X. Greetings, everyone. We have Asiatic Soldier. I'm tuned in, brothers. Salute. Peace. We have Big Vape. Fuku. Oh, that's a nice intro. FKAW. Righteous. Okay. Peace to you. And of course, we have one of the most dedicated, loyal attendees of the pod class, Brother Kemet 101, who has been at every pod class since it has began, and even has been at the Killer Priest when I was on. Actually, I believe that's where he first saw me. God Fibonacci gives the that symbol there. Greetings, everybody in the room. We got Scott, Riger, Baskop N. We have welcome Batcher, FKIN. These names are interesting. I'm just going to put them on the screen. I don't want to mess them up and say them wrong. Unky Mayat. Unk M. Mayat. Greetings, Unk M. Mayat. Unk M. Mayat puts Master Teacher. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to the Tehuti pod class. Of course, we have Deadbeat Void, who is another regular. Peace Tehuti. I got a question. Is it recorded finding of martial arts teaching in Kemet? Okay, we're going to go through, and I'm going to tell everybody how this goes to all the new people in the room. Everybody says they can hear me. Word up. AI Vasquez says word up. Okay. Alabama Red. Yes, Alabama Red, another dedicated student who comes to all the pod classes. And we have Wanon. Peace to you, Wanon. Just greeting everybody in the room. We have, oh yes, Andrea Wason, another loyal, dedicated sister who is at my classes, who sends questions, who sends support, purchases books, and everything else. We have Brenda Castro says, greetings, Master Teacher. Greetings to you, Brenda Castro. Greetings to you. Okay, we're just going down people in the room. Everyone says they can hear me. Greetings, everybody. There's people in here that were not here from last week. Could be new people. The word is spreading on the pod class. Let me tell everybody that is new how we do this. So, my name is Tehuti. I'm in Hotep Ra. Greetings. I am a teacher. I help people break out of the matrix. I help people with psychological trances, mental embracement to the matrix. I help the people break out of that. I teach the origins of religion, spirituality, symbolism, health, several things that I focus on that I believe I've been told has helped several people across the world. I've helped the known, I've helped the unknown, I've helped the poor, I've helped the crackheads, I've helped people become millionaires, I've helped many people across the world for a process and period since about 1993 or so. Yes, I'm into slowing down the aging process. For all those who are new in the room, for all those who are not new in the room, we'll go over how my class works. So, there's another brother who became a regular. I met him on the Killer Priest pod class, asking a question about the Asara set, and then ever since then, He's been every class, Podclass, everywhere. Peace to DHNJ. I'm doing something a little special tonight too for those who send in the Cash App support. I'm going to give you the StreamYard link where you can come on the screen and also actually ask your question. Some of the questions that I get, they're typed, and I have to try to figure out what the person's getting at. I will allow certain people to come on, debut themselves, and actually vocalize their questions. So let me tell everybody who's new how this began, why there is a Podclass. Who's this? Oh, that's an interesting name again. Peace to you, brother. Okay. Why there is a Podclass in the first place? To begin with, it is because over the years of me teaching, I took a hiatus. I did not want to teach publicly, so I only taught one-on-one or groups in person to my inner circle, my family, and certain students one-on-one. I was requested by a brother named AHATI to come on live back on the internet, and I was reluctant. I did not want to teach live on the internet. He kept saying to me, yo, there's so many people out there claiming to be teachers, and all they're doing is just cutting each other down, gossiping, talking about each other's wives, talking about each other's personal lives, using opinions. They're not really teaching. So, especially with the thoroughness you are. So he said, come on, please, come on through and go on. I did an interview on the Lion's Den, and I went on Sonetta, did an interview. All these turned into debates. I did not come here to debate anyone. I've never in my life, since I've never challenged anyone to a debate. But in this journey, in this internet journey of mine, because I've been on my journey since the early 90s, but on the internet journey, it seems like everything is about the debating and arguing. So I came in as a debater. I didn't want to be. I just came in for an interview. It turned into me debating the champion, Judah Nazareth of the Lion's Den. I ended up beating him and beating everybody since, and I believe up to date I have the highest win record in the so-called conscious community on the internet. I think it's 10 or 11-0. I have certificates for them, but I didn't come for that. But inevitably, people with their ego came and said, who's the guy? I'm going to challenge him. I challenge you to this. I challenge you. Set me up with blah, blah, blah. And it turned into these debates, and all of them got beat. All the Unk West, the Jabaris, everybody, they just got officially beat according to the rules. Not according to their opinion, but according to the rules. People started asking me. They said, can I get a one-on-one with you, Tehuti? I'll pay you. And I said yes. I started one-on-ones, and it ended up being like 50 people requesting. The one-on-ones were like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and times 50, 100 people. I had no time in the day to do a one-on-one. So people were paying me generously for their one-on-ones, and I told people, you know what? I will open up a Podclass where unlimited amount of people can come in, listen to the teachings, and all I ask is for those who have questions or want to support, even if you don't have questions, to support. To support. And I will be glad to answer questions. And just as people would donate to the one-on-ones, I said, come donate to the Podclass. At the bottom of the screen, you will see the Cash App, my Cash App. All I ask help support, I'll put the Cash App up, the PayPal. This is an original system, meaning that instead of me getting hired to go to places, I invite everybody to my circle, and everybody just support. Send the Cash App, and you can write your question into the Cash App. I'll put it on the screen, and the reason why I'm doing this is because YouTube removed my super chat. So as you can see on the Killer Priest podcast, we have these super chats where people can just go ding and put their thing up on the screen. They removed that for me. I had it, and then they checked my content, and they said that I qualified, then I disqualified. So I don't have the opportunity to do the super chat. So this is my PayPal. That is the Cash App. I have it connected to the email, so when at least the Cash App, when it's sent, I'll be able to see. And this is reciprocity for those who appreciate my time and effort into this, because I'm not up here to gossip. I will not be talking about other people. I will not be talking about other people's. One second, please. I will not be talking about other people's personal lives. This is strictly for information, factual, researchable information. Okay. There are people that get a lot of views by the shock value or by talking about people's personal lives, but we have a lot of studying, catching up to do in this matrix, and I'd rather focus on information. So that is my reciprocity program, and this is how I make a living also, and I appreciate the people's support. Let me see. Okay, and so welcome everybody to the room again. I appreciate everybody, and the theme of the room, the theme of this class is ancestral artifacts over religious opinions. Let's say it again. Ancestral artifacts over religious opinions. Ancestral artifacts over religious opinions. Very, very important. Our ancestors left several artifacts because they existed. Any ancient culture that existed is going to leave artifacts to verify who they are, because they existed. One moment. Okay, so because our ancestors left beautiful artifacts, we don't have to play a guessing game and a fantasy game when it comes to religion, as religion does, because we have information that we can study, information that we can put up on the screen, information that's in museums that matches the culture that we're looking for. Regardless of the culture that you're looking for, each culture did leave archaeological evidence. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check my emails. Actually, there is 1 cent already. Let me see. Okay. Okay, let me go over here. It says further action is required. Let me see. Let me go and see something here and check everybody. Okay, Carlos. No, Carlos isn't in the room tonight. Show tonight. Yes. Yes. We are on. Okay. 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 Let me get back to the room. Sorry, everybody. I'm the teacher, the engineer, everybody at once. I don't have AD here to do certain things, so everything I'm doing manually. Okay. Let me check the room. Let me check the peace. All the new people that just came in. And so all those that are sending in questions, please support. Please send in the Cash App. They get priority answers, and the PayPal. If you see that you've sent one, and I'm not addressing it, put it on the screen here, because sometimes with the PayPal I don't get the notifications immediately. So all we ask is for people to support. So let me cut off all these screens so I can just focus on. Oh, and let me also give everybody an update. Everybody an update. Oh, we have new people in the room. We have Intuition. What is it? Intuitive 7, Intuitive Fugitive 7. Yes, and also the brother Conscious Controvert. I like that. He says subscribe, definitely. We have the brother. This is the brother I was talking about, AHATI Ma'at. He's the reason why everyone online in the 2000s know me. After 2006, he is the reason. Peace, AHATI Ma'at. So let's give a couple updates, and I'll be checking for the Cash Apps and the PayPal questions. But until then, let me give everybody some updates of things that are happening actually in a couple of days. Let me go to that. What's this? Let me go to that. Okay. Everybody update. Huh?
Ask you about the PayPal.
Okay. Okay, let me check some. One moment, everybody. Pulling up something here. Okay, so we have KEMETICNRG. He's asking a question. I don't see him. I'm trying to pay you PayPal now. I just need to know, are you? Yes. Everybody, if you see this name, if you see that name in the PayPal, yes, that is me. That is at Rocky SV. That is the PayPal. Absolutely. Thank you, KEMETICNRG. Another dedicated student and person that supports all the time. Let me give an update here. Okay, so everybody, I'm going to give everybody an update on what's happening in the next couple of days. Everybody can see the screen. This is the latest update and the latest flyer that is out. Truth over religion. So yes, I've been re-invited back after Vocab Malone got beat in our last debate. Directly afterwards, Sonetter invited me back, but I was not too well at the time, so I took a break from the social media for a while to make sure the family and everybody is in perfect state, because that's more important. And as soon as I came back, let Sonetter know I was back better. He invited me to come to the show and not debate, but to do a presentation, which is what you see here right now. So this is this Sunday, January 30th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Sonetter TV presents Tehuti. Well, I will be doing an open breakdown in class on a particular topic that will be revealed when I get there. I'm trying to change the vibration of the channel because it's always about the Hebrews, the Bible, the Hebrews, and I can understand, I understand it, but when every single topic is the Hebrews, I want to change the vibration and bring it into, I'm going to explain the mathematical magic that the Matrix is actually using, that is, yes, in the Bible, but is also being used in our day-to-day lives and on the news. Mathematical sequences that are used to ensure that his magic is incorporated into our daily visuals, that keeps his power alive based on mathematical equations and number systems that he uses right in front of us. I'll be breaking that down on Sonetter. I also want to show, this was the face, this right here, if everybody can see this. This was the face that Sonetter had when I was debating Jabari. And he was telling Jabari that I was giving him uppercuts. He was like, Jabari, I love you, brother. I love you, but you're definitely getting hit right now. And this was the classic face that Sonetter tried to hold a straight face, but I was beating Jabari so bad, I guess, that he started making this like face where he's trying to stop from smiling. And that became that's what's on the flyer there. So everybody, that is the latest update as far as where you can see me next. Okay, we have 59 people in the chat, and let me now we have 60. And here we go. Okay, we do have, okay, Zebra, I'm gonna put you down here just for a moment. We do have commit 101 sent what is this? Oh, one second, let me see. Hopefully I'm not still screen sharing. If everybody can hear me clearly, press 1. You should see my face and not the screen and hear me. Press 1 if that's the case. I don't want to be accidentally screen sharing and unheard. Okay. 1, KEMETICNRG can hear me. Donkey's here. Hey, peace, Donkey. Okay. Wonderful. All right, we have KEMETICNRG. I don't know what this is going on. What is this? Here we go. I don't know what this is. You wouldn't say that to his face, chump. Okay, let me look at that. I don't know what's going on here. Somebody's saying, oh, okay, thank you, KEMETICNRG. Somebody's using European terminology to describe somebody speaking about themselves. I guess this person in the room said, quit tooting your own horn, narcissist. I guess those are the European terms that are used when somebody speaks on themselves, and the other person's who's hearing it, their ego is affected. So if somebody asked me how tall I was, and they asked me how tall are you compared to the other people in the room, and I happened to be 6'4", and the other people were 5'9", I would say yes, I'm the tallest person in the room. I'm 6'4", and of course, some insecure people that are shorter in the room would say, "Hey, you, stop tooting your own horn, narcissist." No, I'm 6'4". I wear a size 13 shoe. I have a spider on my hat. These are all facts. So when you're speaking facts about yourself, whether they're good or bad, other people's emotions should not be affected by the facts that you speak, whether they're good or bad. But yes, if I have certain accomplishments, absolutely, and I'm asked about them, I will speak on it. Absolutely, and everybody should, and that's how the Kemetians were. They spoke on their greatness, how they were, because it takes a lot to achieve greatness. So when you achieve greatness, definitely speak on your greatness. The European who was insecure created a word called ego, which is just a Greek word for I. That's all it means. Every time you see the word I, it's the word ego in Greek, and the Europeans literally took a Greek word ego and transformed its whole definition into something else, when in actuality people should speak facts on themselves, period. If you wrote a book and you tell people you wrote a book, only an insecure person would say, stop talking about your book, you narcissist. No, I wrote a book, and it's a very good book, and I think you should enjoy the book. And you should speak highly on yourself and speak highly on others. And this is how you become a community of love, is that you speak highly about yourself. You have pride and love for yourself. And I have pride and love for my brothers and sisters and their great accomplishments and their great things. And when I see them and their name is brought up, I speak highly on them. But of course, in telling my journey of how I got here, I'm of course going to discuss the debates that I've been in and the outcome of the debates, whether there are wins or losses. That's just facts. So yes, thank you, KEMETICNRG. I just happened to see that. I don't know if that was even applied to me, but for anybody. Now let's get into I'm glad everybody can hear me. Let's get into some information as opposed to personal things. Not KEMETICNRG, Kemet 101 sent something and I'm going to address certain things. It's a very interesting topic. I'm not going to get too... It's a very interesting topic. And I'm just getting ready to put some things up on the screen. Peace, everybody that just came in the room. Greetings and blessings to everyone that came into the room. Let me do this. So there's a discussion going on. It's been pretty popular. Let me get this off the screen. It's been pretty popular, and this discussion stemmed a question from Kemet 101, and I'm trying to now actually get the get it up here on the boards here. Okay, one moment, everybody. This is a very good question. Let me go ahead and put it up here. This is a great topic. So let me go ahead. Here we go. Where's the email? There it is. Okay, Kemet 101. Thank you so much for the support. Kemet 101. I'm going to go ahead and get that up on the screen. So bear with me, everybody. I do have to do this manually because they don't offer the super chats. Pretty soon I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna read them off. But for this one, I do want to put this up on the screen. This is the Podclass, January 28th, and We'll go ahead and save 1. Okay, let me get to the screen here, and I get to brands and get to adding brands. And bear with me, everyone. After this, I may just read them out to save time. So here we go. So shout out and respect to there it is, to Kemet101, who sent the $20 Cash App. And the $20 Cash App is for all the Olmecs Original Black. This is a great question. This is a great question because this topic has been pushed by, oh, can you guys see me? This topic has been pushed by several brothers and sisters. This argument has been going on for years and years, and I'll tell you the reason why this argument is even happening. And let me pull something up here. Okay, okay, let me go ahead and put something on the screen and do a screen share for everyone. Computer's a little slow right now. So the question is the Olmecs, are they black? Who were they? Yeah. Who were they? What race were they? And so you have brothers like Renoka Rashid and other brothers definitely pushing the concept that the Olmecs were black. The reason why, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why we get into these arguments and these conversations is very simple. I'm going to really kind of shut it down very quickly. We allowed the European to name us. Once we allowed the European to name us, then we used his definitions of the names to categorize us. We held on to those definitions like a child holds on to the name that his mother and his father gives him. Let me get this off the screen a moment. That his father and his mother gives him. And through self-hatred, we've been made to believe that we have to argue under his terminology. So he came last. The European came last, conquered, starting with Alexander the Great, and then started naming everybody. The original people that he named have been killed. So all that's left is us, which are the children of the children of the children of the people that he named. So when he went over to Jamaica, when he went over to Trinidad, he thought that he was in the western part of India. Okay, let's get this clear. He started calling the area the Western Indian area. He was searching for India, and he started calling it West Indies for India. Now, when you meet a Jamaican person, the Jamaican person will say, I'm West Indian. And, you know, my family, large parts of them, are Jamaican, so they always say that. They say that they're West Indian, and the person who looks, and this is where the confusion comes in. The person who looks like this I'll do a screen share, And this is really where the confusion truly comes in here. So I want to ask everybody, what is this type of person? They'll say this person is East Indian. Okay? So a Jamaican person will say, I am West Indian. They will see this person and they will say this person is East Indian. And then they will see a native, we'll just do it live here, Native American. They'll see this person here. And they'll see this person here, and they'll say this person is Indian also. Here is the confusion. While the European was going around naming everybody Indian, this person's Indian, this person's Indian, and also R.I.P. Bob Marley. R.I.P. to brother Bob Marley. But Bob Marley now is Indian. So how can this be? How can this be the case? How can this person be Indian from the eastern part of India? This person is native Indian, and then this person is from the western part of India. All three people, when you meet them, claiming to be Indian. Then the European calls a certain sect of people black. The confusion comes in where now this person is called black. Bob Marley, Martin Luther King is called black. But the same Bob Marley that's black is also called West Indian because he's from Jamaica. Then when you ask something, I'm trying to show you how the matrix works in our minds and how we're trapped within the matrix because we're using only European definitions to define who we are, and we existed before the European. But when he gives you his definitions, because his definitions actually remove who you are, then the confusion and the argument starts. So Bob Marley say, I'm Indian. I am Indian. I'm a West Indian. I'm from West Indies, man. I'm from West Indian. And this guy says, no, I'm a native Indian. It's me. You're black. And he says, I'm black, but I'm West Indian. And he says, no, I'm not black, but I'm Indian. And this guy comes in the conversation and says, no, I am the true Indian. I am the Indian here. Me, I'm from India. And now these three people get in a room and they start arguing over were the Indians black, were the original Jamaicans black, were the Olmecs black, or were they native Indians, were the and this breeds the complete chaos, because we're actually arguing terms that none of these original people called themselves. So the original people that lived in the area that today is called India, in that area they did not call themselves Indians. That's not what they call themselves. That's why my arguments with people are always, what did the native people call themselves? Not what they were renamed when they were invaded and then they started calling themselves after the invasion. What did the Jamaican people call themselves? Did they call themselves Indian? Is there documentation of that, all that? What did the native people call themselves? Is there any record in Native American or Olmec documents, written documents, that they consider themselves from India? These places are thousands of miles apart. Thousands. Jamaica, India, America are so far away. And so this person will say he's original native, but so will a Mexican. A Mexican that lives in America, because remember, America is not one place. It's three. America is three places. North America, South America, and Central America, of which Mexico is a part of one of those Americas. So an original Mexican now would be a Native American. But let me take it off screen share. But you'll see that a Mexican man will never call himself a Native American. He'll say, "No, I'm Mexicano. I'm Latino. I'm Hispaniola. I'm Hispanic." And I'm like, Hispania is nowhere near Mexico. Mexican people are nowhere near Spain. And this is all the confusion. So when we all get together, now the same Mexican or the same person, let's say he was an Aztec or a Mayan, other titles, was living here for thousands of years, and on the other side of America, a Native American who's living there for thousands of years, and then they get together and they start arguing over the titles that the European gave them. I'm original Native American. Well, I'm original Mexicano. I'm a Latino. And I'm like, Latin? You speak Latin? You were there speaking Latin when Latin came from the Roman, which part of Latin? No, Latin America. No, it was conquered by descendants of Romans. So this breeds the whole argument over who is black, who is not black, and we will be arguing this for hundreds, if we have been arguing this for hundreds, soon to be thousands of years, because we're using their terminology. Now, the Olmecs, were they melanated, dark-skinned people? Yes. Yes. Did those melanated people call themselves black people? No. Nobody did. None of them did. The Europeans saw a bunch of brown-skinned people, and he started renaming them to cause the divide. So he says, "You're not black, you're Indian. You're not black, you're Dominican. You're black. You're American. You're an American, African American. You're not African American. You're African. You're from Senegal. You're from Nigerian. You're E1B131A, and this black person is E1B181218131, and this black person over there is 3121B1." And next thing you know, you got a bunch of us arguing. The East black people they're a different kind of black because they're E1B1, this group mitochondria, and none of us argued this in ancient times. None of us argued this. None of us. Now, the Olmec people look like the native Aztec people, the native people of the area. Are they dark-skinned? Yes. If you were to see them, would you call them black? No. Because we are under this guise and separation that if you have straighter kind of hair, you're not black. We don't even know what the definition of black is. I know my beard is black. So I'm going to go ahead and show, let me do a screen share and show some of the images of the Olmecs side by side with the native people. And here, if everybody can see this. Okay. So over here, see this one? This one I'm moving my mouse over. This is the image that they never seem to show. There are hundreds of this called Olmecs. Hundreds of these sculptures. But black people that have an agenda that want to prove that the Olmecs had this West African look, because see, black people are under the impression that this man is not black. If they saw this man, they would have some other title for him. They'll say, "Oh, he's Mexican, he's Indian." There's some other title for this man because the European told you this man is not black. He's something else. Okay, great. So if we establish this man is something else, then this man is something else. You see? You can't say this man is something else and not say that this man is something else, which is why the people that are pushing that the Olmecs are black never show these images. And I have hundreds of these ones that look more Asian type. Here is a picture side by side with an Olmec side by side with a native of the same that still lives in the same area. And as you see, their face is exactly the same. The only difference is one is wearing a helmet and one has his hair out. If you subtract the helmet and put them side by side, it's the exact same features. But unfortunately, due to Europeans, due to us looking up to Europeans as our father, as the one who names what our race is, we'll say, no, this man here, he's a Mexicano, he's native, he's not a black man. Okay, then this man's not either. You see? So the Olmecs look like this. This is what the Olmecs look like. What is your definition of black? Will define if you consider the Olmecs black. Because the European does not consider these people black. I would consider these people melanated people. And if they came up to me to learn about Ma'at, or learn about economics, or learn about Meduneder, or learn about their language, or just learn about out-of-body experience, I would sit down with them and I would teach them side by side, just as I would teach somebody who looks like Eddie Murphy, just as I would teach somebody who looks like any so-called Wesley Snipes. And somebody will say, yeah, but those are black people, we should be teaching them. And I'll say, give me your physical definition of a black person and tell me how Kid from Kid and Play and Sinbad match that. Because these two guys are darker than Kid from Kid and Play and Sinbad. So we can't use a color to define us. We can't say black and use one of the colors and say that's a definition of us. But yet you have people here that are darker than Kid from Kid and Play and darker than Sinbad, but yet they're black and these people are not. This is the confusion that we've been led into. So to answer the question, were the Olmecs black? If you want them to be, because black is a political structured word that was created in recent times. They're not using black and the same definition as the people of Kemet use black when they said Kemnut. Kemnut or Kemnun, right? Those were the black townspeople. They're not using it for that term. The definition of black now is the terminology is now governed by what Europeans say black is. Inside of Kemet, you will find images of people that were all types of shades, different types of hairs, different types of look. There were melanated people before and after the invasions, all throughout the Nile Valley. Did they all look like Wesley Snipes? No. Did they all look like Whoopi Goldberg? No. Did some of them look like Halle Berry? Yes. Did some of them look like Jasmine Guy? If you guys remember Jasmine Guy. Did some of them look like Jasmine Guy? Yes. Did some of them look like Eddie Murphy? Yes. Did some of them look like Kid from Kid and Play? Yes. It's the European that came over, saw all these different types of melanated people, and then renamed them as if they're separate people. But here are some of the images of the Olmecs, and yes, of course, they were brown-skinned people. And if you want to consider them black, for not you, Kemet, but if you want to consider them black for a political agenda, then yes, you can call them black. We have no definition of what black people are. We have no definition of what the word black encompasses. We don't know if it's defining our color. We don't know if it's defining our hair. We don't know. We just accepted it because we were born in a contingency society where everybody was saying the contingency. So we just started following the contingency. And if you actually confront somebody and say, what is the definition of a black man? Whatever definition they give, I'm going to give another person who's called a black man who doesn't look like that definition, or a black woman who doesn't look like that definition. Because nobody will consider an albino black woman a white woman. So it's not the color of her hair, it's not color of her skin. We don't know what the definition is. We have no idea because we did not create the term. So were the Olmecs black? They were brown skinned people, and we should respect them and their culture and what they brought to society and how they affected that part of the world, and leave them as that. I want to also tell people that let me get back to the screen here. Then I got to step away for a minute. I also want to tell people that all these arguments and all these chats about who's black, were the Egyptians black, were the Olmecs black, all of those are for personal gratification. You see, if we're supposed to want to learn our ancestry because we want to know, oh, are these our people? Did they behave a certain way before the invasion? Now that we've established that they are our people, let's walk the walk. What did they teach? So you'll see more Facebook groups arguing over whether the Egyptians were black or whether they were Arab or whether they were white. More arguing over that than what did the Egyptians, the Kemetians, teach, and how can we apply it to uplift our frequency, since they taught that before the introduction of the oppressor. But once we learn they're black, we're like, yes, Egyptians were black. Let's move to the next culture. The Olmecs, yes, they were black, and we're proving all these people were black. But the Olmec didn't talk about that. The Olmec followed the disciplined way of the Olmec. The Dogon, the ancient Dogon, didn't talk about whether they were black. The Dogon followed the way of the Dogon. The Zulu people didn't talk about whether they were black. They were from that tribe and they followed the way. The people of the Nile Valley didn't talk about we're pro-black. They fought other so-called blacks all the time. There was never a war in Kemet that stopped because one of the people said, no, you're one of us. You're a black man. Black unity, brother. That never ever happened. Because everybody at that time was brown skin. But the Kemetians had a certain way of life. The Assyrians had a certain way of life. And instead of them arguing over what their skin looked like and how thick their nose was and their lips were, they were more concerned with following a frequency that everybody could unite under and learning discipline. Discipline is what everybody's running from. To say somebody's black is easy. Once you prove that King Tut is black, are you trying to live his life? Or you're just proving he's black and then moving on? He's black, but I'm gonna put on my baseball hat. I'm gonna go to the game. I'm gonna smoke, drink. I'm gonna do all this. We're gonna pick up the baddies. We're gonna have an undisciplined. I'm gonna eat Dorito chips and undisciplined life. I'm never gonna do anything. No meditation, no prayer, no nothing. But guess what? The Egyptians were black. The Egyptians were black, so that you can live an undisciplined life, but walk around with the, as they say, the ego. That you can say, see, we're black, we did this, well, let's do it again. But in order to do it again, you have to unite under a frequency by the masses to do it again. So the Olmec people were who they were. They did not consider themselves black. Were they brown skin? Were some of them my complexion? Yes. Were some of them the Native American and Mexican complexion? Yes. Up and above all of that, they did not consider themselves black people. They didn't consider themselves that. And they had different textures of hair. Some textures that black people would not consider black texture of hair. So thank you for that question, my brother. And we're gonna move. I'm gonna take a little break. Let me get back to the emails. But thank you for that question, because it's, of course, there's much more detail, but I can't cover it all in the pod class, because we can actually get into, we can look more into the Olmecs, and I can show the rest of the stat. If I showed you some of the statues of the Olmecs, you would say, that's a Chinese guy, brother. That's a Chinese guy for sure. That doesn't look nothing like me. That's a Chinese man. And I would say, well, there was a migration from that Asian area over here to the Americans, and there's strong links between Native Americans, Mexicans, and Asian people who were dark people. They were dark people. They just didn't call themselves black or Negro. These are all like Spanish slave political terms. Okay, so thank you for that. I appreciate that, and I hope that helped you a little bit. And I appreciate that. So let me what is this? Oh, let me get into the emails. Okay. Oh, a good question that was asked, and I'm going to answer this. Is this true? I'm a Caucasian. Am I still allowed to be here? I don't know. I never know it with Donkey. I don't know if I'm not sure, but I I don't know. On YouTube and on social media, nobody of any race can be told where to go, where not to go. So no, I will never say that. If I teleported back in time, if I teleported Wallace E. Budge, who wrote the Book of the Dead, and could time travel him back to 2021, would he be allowed in the Podclass? Absolutely. To give his insight, and he's the one that translated the Book of the Dead. Absolutely. We're just about teaching the truth. And those of you who are Caucasian, Chinese, or any of those titles that you call yourself, it's all about knowing the truth of everybody's culture, and then you'll know where you are and where you are to go. Okay, I'm going to take a break for just a minute. I will be right back in just a moment. Okay, I am back. Let me get back into the room here. Peace and greetings, everyone in the room. I had to step away for just a moment because this is the one-man show, so I have to actually take breaks in between. Let me take a look at the Cash Apps and PayPals, and also look at some of the questions because the room is moving fast and I'm not catching everybody. But I want to know if KEMETICNRG, KEMETICNRG says, looks like me, see? And if I put KEMETICNRG up on the screen right now, a lot of people look at you and say, hey, that's not a black man. They'll say, hey, he's not a black man. He's whatever people say. And all this confusion is only because we're going by definitions, by someone else's definitions, not by ours. Okay? What do we have here? For what about? Okay, we have Shane, and I think Shane is Donkey. Shane, I'm going to need you to clarify this question. If this is you, let me go ahead and put this up on the screen. I don't quite understand the question. I'll go ahead and put this up on the screen. And thank you, by the way, for the for the donation and the question, I do want to be clear. So this is from, I believe this is from Donkey. Oh, sorry. This is from Donkey. Thank you for the $10 donation and the question. I am not familiar with what this question means. And Donkey, I know you from the Podclass. I know you from this class. So I will actually allow you, if you want, to come onto the screen and verbally elaborate on this, because I don't quite know what this means. And I'll read out the question. What about the green people like the twins? Not sure what that means. So I'm not going to attempt to get into to anything, but thank you for the super chat. And Donkey, if you want to come up on the screen, you can. I'm very familiar with you, and you can elaborate through audio or video on what that question actually means. I don't know what the green people are. I don't know who the twins are that are green. So maybe if you come up and you can give reference to what that is. I never heard of them. I never heard of green people and green twins. That's very, very interesting. I'd actually like to see an image of that. That is interesting. So Donkey, if you'd like to come up, just let me know, and I will put the StreamYard in the chat. Peace, KEMETICNRG. How you doing, my brother? KEMETICNRG. And KEMETICNRG, if you Obi's in the room. Peace to Obi-Wan. Peace, Obi-Wan. Obi, kids from the inner earth. I don't know. Obi's in the room. KEMETICNRG. Did you send a PayPal? I did not get a notification, but I will. I know you're at Jody. Jody is in the room. Peace, Jody. Greetings. Jody's in the room. Jody's always welcome. Jody's wonderful, wonderful lady, great supporter. Let me check back. Let me check into the supports. Shout out to Dimitri. Oh, I can't say these names. Sorry, brother. Hammerods. Well, you know who you are, Dimitri. Let me go ahead and shout you out, and also put your support on the screen. And I appreciate that. He did not have a question. He actually just said, what did he say? Do your thing. Thank you for the support. And that is, I put that up on the screen. Dimitri, thank you, my brother. Whoever you may be in the room. The names on the room sometimes do not match the Cash App names. But whoever you are, thank you for that. And yes, I will continue to do my my thing. Peace, Bird Flight. Peace, Bird Flight. Okay. KEMETICNRG. Do me a favor, KEMETICNRG, and anyone. I'm going to put my email in the room. It is mysticaltelevision@gmail.com. And if you happen to have sent a PayPal and I didn't get the notification, go ahead and email me and take a little screenshot of the PayPal. I'll see the email notification, and I'll go ahead and see it from there. Okay, I get the Cash App notifications immediately. The PayPal is not quite set up in the same way. We have brother. Passing the phone.
Tell them to put their name that they use in the chat.
Yes.
Put it on the
Let me see. Maybe it's coming to my phone. Nope. Okay, so oh. Querying. Oh, okay. Oh, I see it. I see it, KEMETICNRG. You're cause you, yeah, I recognize because of the other name, Carlos. I didn't recognize the one with the Q. So let me go ahead and put this up on the screen. Let me go ahead and put this up. Thank you. I see it now. I see it. I have it here. I didn't know it was querying. Okay, so KEMETICNRG would like to introduce himself and ask a question or say something. Let me go ahead and put that on the screen. And KEMETICNRG, you are definitely welcome to do so. I have to take a couple minute break anyway, so yes, you can. Wow, that's big. Okay. Can I come introduce myself with my question? Okay, KEMETICNRG, thank you for that support. As always, KEMETICNRG is always supporting, and I just got the PayPal notification, and thank you for that. So KEMETICNRG, I'm going to let you actually come on because I want this to be interactive, and I know you, and I'm going to let you actually come on, introduce yourself briefly while I take a couple minute break. Share some thoughts. Also share some thoughts on the Podclass, how it's helped you, or why you're here. Go ahead and do those things, and I'm very open to hear such. And if your question is one that I can, if your question is one that I can address right here, I shall. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the room. I know some trolls may try to jump on, but I can see before I accept who comes in, so I will know which one is KEMETICNRG. But I will put this in the room here. KEMETICNRG, go ahead and click on that, and you will be able to come into the room. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate you. We appreciate all that you teach. I appreciate you, my sister, very much. I appreciate your support and all that you do. Okay. One moment, everybody. Let me get the right one on. Okay, so here I see KEMETICNRG. He's this is the moment KEMETICNRG has been waiting for. He's coming on the Tehuti Podclass. Let's see if this is an original Olmec. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go. Let me get him in the room. KEMETICNRG, I'm going to let you in. Go ahead, introduce yourself, and I'm going to come in and out while I'm taking a break. So here you are, KEMETICNRG. Oh, you have to mute your. Wait. KEMETICNRG.
Do I need the earpiece?
Oh, you have to mute your. Yeah, because you have the volume going, so the people are going to hear me echoing, talking through. Go ahead and get your thing, your earpiece, and welcome in. I would also like the good brother, if he'd like, AHATI Ma'at, to come in and introduce himself. AHATI Ma'at is my greatest student, most loyal, dedicated brother. And AHATI Ma'at, if you'd like to pop in and say a few words, that would be great too, while I'm taking a little break. Oh, so KEMETICNRG, can you hear us? Can you hear me, KEMETICNRG?
Indeed.
You can? Go ahead. Okay, go ahead, KEMETICNRG. Introduce yourself. Let me see something. The screen's not changing. Whoop. Go ahead, KEMETICNRG. Introduce yourself. You are front row and center in Tehuti's Podclass. Greetings and welcome to the room. Somebody in the room is already saying you're the colonizer. That's so funny. But welcome to the room, my brother. Go ahead.
You wouldn't say that to my face. I don't tolerate.
So, go ahead, KEMETICNRG. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you are, what you know about the Podclass, just anything, and go ahead and ask your question or give your thought. What's that?
Can you hear my vocal? On my end.
Yeah, there is a delay, but yeah, we can hear you clear. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, that's a long delay. So Pete, peace to chat room, peace to you. All humble honor for you to allow me to be here and have this opportunity to introduce myself. I am from Philadelphia, born and raised. Was a very young representative of the nation of gods and earths. For 15 years, I stomped the streets of Philadelphia, New York City, Washington, D.C., teaching that the black man was God. Still an echo.
Hey, hold on a second, KEMETICNRG. Everybody, if you can hear KEMETICNRG, press 1. You should be able to hear him. Press 1 if you can hear the brother speaking. Press 1.
It makes you more likable and electable while reducing belly fat. All for one low payment of give me all your money. And tonight on CBS.
I can't see the chat, so I don't know what they're saying. Let me see.
They're saying yes. They're pressing 1.
Okay.
Some are saying turn the TV off in the background. They can hear you, but turn the TV off.
Okay, TV's off. Indeed. I can't see the chat though. Let me see.
It's okay, brother. Don't worry about the chat. Just go ahead and introduce yourself and say your thought. Don't worry. You won't be able to see the chat from my perspective at least, but don't worry about that. That's okay.
Okay, bet. Yeah. Me and Tehuti have been equated for close to a year now. My support for the show, my support for Tehuti's teachings, and being a strong supporter of what it is Tehuti presents, and being a representative of the gods and earths for 15 years. My history in theology started before that, actually. Spending 6 months in theology school in Philadelphia. I was a high-ranking member of a church for a few years before my Nation of God skit, and teaching the laws, lessons 120, supreme mathematics. Lived that for a long time, and started studying Egypt. We know and understand all the origins from writing, mathematics, and astrophysics, anything you can mention that involves a letter or a number originated in Kemet. So when being a member of the conscious community, listening to Sarnetta, I was a guest on Sarnetta. We debated the Islam the Islam apologists smashed them. Anyone want to see my debate skills? Anyone want to prejudge who I am? You can take a look at that Sonetta Islamic apologetic debate. You see me stomping my foot in the ground on that show right there, coming at the Islamic community. Yeah, they're still echo. I don't know how I can.
The echo's off, my brother. You fixed it. The echo's off.
Okay, I just got a message saying that the echo is still up. Bet. True. So, some of my questions about the ley lines, about ancient geography maps, about the origins of writing and reading, and some of the science, more time-consuming topics such as the building and the structures of the Plateau of Giza, over a little bit more east to the land of Sumer. So, which we know that we can't date in a civilization before these two ancient civilizations, Egypt, Sumer. As far as where to start, Tehuti just asked me to introduce myself. I go by Kemetic, and I appreciate Tehuti having me on. Appreciate the conversation that I received from the chat rooms, and Tehuti suggested for me to begin to start something. I wouldn't know where to begin. I wouldn't know where to start. I would probably have to feed off of what is being said from the chat room, and fire things off from there. This is kind of last minute. Got a little bit of spotlight on me, maybe a little camera shy, but yeah, if someone in the chat room has something, I actually made some comments thus far based on the build that Tehuti presented, and had a dialogue going on with Brother Conscious, Peace Conscious, Brother Donkey, Peace Donkey, and if there's anything anyone want to know, get used to the face. Get used to this face. You're gonna see a lot of it. And anything anyone wants to be aware of and know about the kid, I would be pleased to present myself.
Okay. Wonderful Kemetic Matter G. Let me get back in the screen here. Wonderful, brother.
I know we're not on a specific topic of discussion. Kind of freestyling.
Okay. That's okay. I wanted you just to introduce yourself. I heard some of the topics. I will actually get into them, especially the language origins. It's very important when having a debate or discussion with somebody about the origin of a God concept creating man. The most important topic to discuss on that issue would be language. And I say this because I want everybody to think. I say this because the thing that separates people from chimpanzees, apes, giraffes, according to our cognizance, is language. Written language, grammatical codes, full sentence structures. Of course, animals have their own language. But the one thing that all the cultures agree on is that their God gave a language to his creation. So when walking up to a Hebrew Israelite, or walking up to a Muslim, walking up to anybody and saying, okay, so your religion is the original one, right? Hebrews are the original. What language did God speak to Adam and Eve in? Very important. what language was given as far as a written language to his people. Because if we can trace the oldest languages on the planet and writing with moral code, then we can trace the children of God. Because there's no way that Medu Neter should be the oldest, or cuneiform should be the oldest language, when according to the Bible, Adam and God were talking back and forth. Abraham and God were talking. These people that God created and guided were having conversations before any culture was here on the planet. So that means that Adam and God and Eve and all those people, Cain, Abel, Methuselah, Noah, his children, and all those people had a language they were communicating in before God gave languages to other cultures. So whatever that oldest language is would have to be the language of God, according to the concept of religious people teaching. So we're going to get into that. We're going to definitely get into that. Thank you for introducing yourself. I have another brother at the bottom who looks like your cousin, and he's from this is AHATI. AHATI Mahat. Looks like you guys look like cousins, but this is
the brother AHATI.
This is AHATI. Oh, a lot of echo. Somebody has. Oh, yeah, that is the brother AHATI. I'm going to let AHATI go on and introduce himself, and also after that, I will get into the language, factual aspects of languages, which is very important to understand. An oldest culture must have the oldest language if that culture's teachings were passed on. Not like Mighty Hebrew says through oral tradition, but actually passed on through archaeology. So go ahead, AHATI Ma'at. This is the brother that is responsible. This podcast is a little different. I'm getting interactive with the audience. This is the brother that is responsible for me, for you all knowing me. He's the one that persisted that I teach the public, that I come on and debate or discuss on the internet. I wanted no parts of it. He persisted, and I eventually came on, and that is why people in the public know of me. So this is AHATI Ma'at. Go ahead, AHATI Ma'at, and introduce yourself, and then we'll get into the language. Go ahead, my brother.
Echo. Am I still echoing?
No, you're not.
Okay, I apologize earlier for the echo to everyone. I didn't know I had another screen on. I'm AHATI Ma'at, as he introduced me as, and I've been studying with the master teacher, Amenhotep Ra, you know him as Tehuti, for 8 years now. I first met him in 2014 as a Hebrew Israelite. So being a Hebrew Israelite, being very stubborn and stuck in a narrow focus of what the definition of God is, and so on and so forth, it would take somebody like Amenhotep Ra to break me out of that spell, literally using magic. And so when I first met him, I had a lot of questions like a lot of you do have, but the difference is I had to actually, I wasn't only learning questions to answers that I had for him. At the same time, without me knowing it, he was teaching me how to totally transform and revitalize our people say rights. I don't really believe in rights, but you hear people say God-given rights. And what I mean by that is I didn't know at the time when I first met him that discipline is an asset to us. The more disciplined you are, the more you get what you want. And it sounds, to people that are undisciplined, it sounds ironic. It sounds like it doesn't make any sense. But once you get past the pain of discipline and get past the hard work, you actually start attracting what you really want. So I would hear through the conscious circles, especially in the Hebrew Israelite circle, that, you know, we have to pray to Yahweh, and or we just have to do these mantras, they're called mantras, and stuff will manifest. And that's all fine and good, but you also have to take action. So what he was teaching me, not only from the questions I had, he was teaching me how to be disciplined, how to be consistent. And I literally wanted this so bad. And when I mean want this, I wanted my life to change. So this teaching here on YouTube that I suggested to him was not just so you could just type and ask questions to him, but that you could begin to slowly revitalize your own life and to see real change in your life. At the time when I met him, the Bible teaches us against magic, even though there's tons of magic going on in the Bible. But that's the first thing I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn the magic, and he didn't just give it to me. Because that's how, and I understand why now. I didn't understand at the time. I would get pissed off at the time, but I understand why he didn't give it to me at first, because I wouldn't appreciate it as much as I do now. And he would tell me, like, I live off my magic. I literally live off my magic, and I would just think, like, you know, I want to be like that. I want to live off of magic. I don't want to, if I don't have to work hard for something. You hear this term work hard, which is a whole nother topic, but you hear this term work hard. I learned through him that the words that we're speaking are literal spells. And you hear this from other people, but he actually breaks it down. The words that you speak are literally programmed in your mind. So when I would hear work hard, you convince yourself that, yeah, in order for you to obtain what you want, you have to work hard. When in reality, that's not true. Because as he often speaks about going back to the ancestors and going back to what is original, there is no term in any brown culture in the past where it says that they have to work. Because when you get to the etymology or the root of the word work, it just means to do. So that could be, you could be creative. So if you're an MC, you just produce more tracks or more rap. If you're a writer or a scribe, you produce more books. And to me, writing doesn't, I love to write. So writing to me is like drinking water or working out or whatever. It's fun. And at the same, the bonus is, yeah, you can make money at it, but what's more important, do you want to have fun or do you want to constantly make money? So the point that I'm making is that this man here on the top of the screen here is something that only comes around not too often in a lifetime. I mean, people talk about Malcolm X, and yes, Malcolm X was great, absolutely. Garvey, great. Even Elijah Muhammad, great. But I have never met literally another man like this, and he knows me. He knows I don't just fluff people up and butter them up. He knows me good. So when I say this, I've tested him. He'll tell you, I've tested him with very complicated questions. And he would tell me, like, I remember I asked him, like, what does, Ptah was in I believe it was me that asked. Ptah was in Ptah is what's called now a turtle suit. They call it a turtle suit. It's not a turtle suit. But, I mean, I could have asked any of these other so-called Kemetic teachers the question, and they would have no clue. Matter of fact, they would get angry at me. And that's the big thing. The man's patience is very deep. It's very deep, so don't be afraid to ask him a question at all. No matter what it is, his patience is very deep. And to the brother up top there, KEMETICNRG, welcome. I was just telling a female today that that my enemy is people that are against truth. So just because you're, let's say, Caucasian or whatever, I'm not automatically against you until you speak to me. Once you start speaking to me and you start lying to me, which so often happens because, again, I told you words are like spells and most people don't look up anything that they're speaking. So then I'm against you. But if I met this brother in the street and he's praising Tehuti like he is and he's cool and asking questions and being interesting, absolutely. I'm going to give him pounds. I'm going to give him daps. I'm going to say what's up. So anyways, I'm glad everybody's very supportive. I'm glad that everybody that's over here from the Killer Priest podcast, that was my magical plan, was to have people finally get. It's
Brilliant. Brilliant.
What was that, brother?
No, I was saying that was brilliant. That was a brilliant place to start, and I can't wait. You know, we looking forward to the outcome on a weekly basis.
Yeah, my purpose is because I watch Kill. Not to take anything away from Kill Priest. I grew up. I loved heavy metal. That's my favorite album. One Step. That's my favorite track. But the people he was bringing on the show. So I just wanted to get somebody on there because there's people like me, like you, KEMETICNRG, that are watching these other. I'm just gonna keep it real. Fools, buffoons. I don't care. I was raised in the streets. I've been through a lot of stuff I will not talk about here on YouTube because there's people listening. But I can tell somebody's fake when I meet them. Because at one time I was fake too. I had that fake pride. I have to be tough. I have to prove. I grew past that, and I could see who's doing it or not now. And there's a lot on there, and they have to be exposed, in my opinion. But the best way to expose somebody is just to speak the truth. And this brother up here, Amenhotep Ra, is the perfect candidate for that. So, Tuwa Amenhotep Ra. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Yes. Okay, mute your mics, brothers. Mute your mics. Okay, thank you, AHATI. Appreciate that. Thank you. So let's we're gonna get into the understanding the language aspect, very important, and understanding some of the craziness that's taught about languages, and then the truth and some archaeological facts that will help some new people here and even the old people get facts on the language, the Medu Neter, as opposed to the Hebrew language. Now, what is the story that everyone has heard of where languages came to be? Where did languages come from? We all grew up on a story of where languages come from. The Bible writers, of course, had to create an explanation as to where languages came from, because the Bible writers wrote the Bible after people were already speaking languages. So of course they have to come up with a post-factual answer as to where languages come from. Because how could everybody in the Garden of Eden be speaking to God? How could Abraham be speaking to God? And they seem to be speaking this one language. Then all of a sudden you have China and India and all these other languages popping up. So we're going to look at that story, and then we're going to get into the facts, the actual factuality of it. And thank you for bringing that up, KEMETICNRG, and it will help others. So let me go ahead and do a screen share, and we'll look into some of the folly. And so this is where it starts. Here's where it starts, right here. We're going to get into the biblical explanation, then we're going to get into archaeological finds. So, the Bible, Genesis 11:1, says the whole earth was of one language. Right off the bat, red flag. Ask these religious people, what time period is this where the whole earth is of one language? What time period is this? Because whatever time period this is, we have to research the archaeological finds of that time period. Was it 3900 BC? Was it 3000 BC? Was it 4000 BC? And if we can find multiple languages that are continuously going back, then the first sentence here is wrong. There was never a time on this planet Earth when the whole earth was speaking one language. Never. Never. That's why when you do archaeological digs in different parts of the world, you'll find different languages. That's just, so right off the bat, this is kindergarten lies that are being told to the masses that make you mentally retarded when you believe in this. It came to pass, they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain called Shinar. Nobody has ever found this plain to this day in archaeology called Shemar. So of course the Hebrew Israelites and other Christians, what they like to do is they like to change letters. So they changed the letter N, they took away the letter H, changed the letter N into an M, and then that became Sumer. But nowhere in archaeology, nowhere did the people of that area call their land Shinar as Sumer, as if they couldn't say Sumer. And they dwelt there. So once it went right off the bat, we're in a fantasy land. And they said to one another, let's go make a brick and burn thoroughly. And they had brick for stone and slime for mortar. And they said, go, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach the heaven. Okay? Let us make a name, lest we be scattered across the face of the earth. So they're unifying, and they're trying to get to heaven. They're trying to get to God, and they want to make a name for themselves. Now, Genesis 11:5 immediately debunks all monotheistic religious beliefs. The Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children build. If the Lord is coming down, then the Lord is moving. Okay? An omnipresent God, there's one thing that an omnipresent God cannot do, and that's move. You can't move because you're already there. If you're a finite God and you can be in one place at one time, then yes, you can move. But if you're everywhere at all time, then you can't go down, up, sideways. And what is the reason why this God came down? Is to see. Christians and Hebrews cannot bypass this sentence. Why did God, the Most High, the Lord, Adonai, El Shaddai, Elion, whichever name you wish to call, why did he come down? For what purpose? To see. So at this point, that God is not the all-seeing anymore, because he has to come down to see. That to right in there is a reason for something in English. I went to the store to buy a bag of chips. I went to the beach to go swimming in the ocean. So if God came down to see, that means he couldn't see from whatever height this God was. We never questioned this. And the Lord said, behold, the people are one. And of course we have bad English right in the King James Bible. Behold, the people is one, that's supposed to be are one. But behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them that they imagine to do. So God wanted to stop their power. He didn't want them to unify, because once they unify, then nothing can be stopped. They cannot be stopped from doing it. Let us go down. So we have a God now talking to some other person or some other being, and they keep going down to confound their language, that they may not understand each other. This is the story of where languages came from in the Bible. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth. They left off to build a city. Therefore the name of it is called Babel. This is their explanation to where the word Babylon came from. Even though in ancient times the area was not called Babylon. Because the Lord did there confound their language of all the earth. From thence the Lord scattered them abroad. And there's your story of languages explained in a nutshell in 9 verses that we're supposed to accept from this Bible. There's a few problems, though. There's several problems with this story, and that is the people that went to the Tower of Babel. It wasn't every single person. That means it wasn't the woman who was cooking at home. It wasn't her children she was taking care of. There were certain men that went to build this tower. It wasn't the dentist, it wasn't the doctor, it wasn't every single person in the city. So that means that whoever was on the tower, their language was changed But then what happens? They have to go home to their family members. Imagine that. Imagine you or your mate or your wife or your children leave to go to school, and they come back speaking Chinese. One son comes back speaking Chinese, the other son comes back speaking Hindi, the other son comes back speaking Swahili, the other son comes back speaking Portuguese, and your wife comes back speaking Spanish. You were at home, so your language never got confounded. Do you see how silly this story is? You're at home taking care of the garden. You weren't a part of building the Tower of Babel, but whoever went to the Tower of Babel to do this, their language got confounded. Not everybody on the planet Earth, only the people that were working to build the tower. So the people at home, the gardeners, the people along the Nile, they continue to speak their language. Imagine the chaos, and imagine how many people would have written about this story. Imagine the dysfunctional families that this story would create if we believed in it. KEMETICNRG and AHATI and anybody listening, if your wife could not understand your language anymore, and all she could understand was a language that there's no dictionary for, you see? Portuguese, there's a dictionary for. So you can learn it. You can go learn Portuguese. Chinese, there's a dictionary for them. Japanese, but imagine there's no dictionary for any of these languages. Why? Because they're just invented right there. So nobody could go research what anybody else is saying unless that other person already spoke that language. So your wife comes back, your lady comes back, KEMETICNRG, and she comes back home. Where is your relationship going? Where is your it is gone. Your relationship is destroyed. Your mother comes back. Your relationship with your mom is finished. Finito. This situation that God did would have broke up millions of households. That means that your wife now has to destroy your family and walk around this land all over the place looking for the one man or two men that also say and then pick him as a husband. You see how sick this is? This is a sick, disgusting, immoral story. That means your children can no longer go to school. What school did the children go to after the Tower of Babel? Because if the teacher was there helping build, he came back and he cannot teach your children anymore. If your children were part of the Tower of Babel, they're coming back. Therefore, all schools are shut down and destroyed. There's no dentist, there's no doctor, there's no emergency, there's no hospital, because nobody can take your order. You go to your doctor now, you have a heart problem, and your doctor's like, you can no longer have a doctor. You have to walk the whole land hoping there's a doctor whose language got changed to the exact same language that you had while you were at home. But you will never find that because you were at home, so your language never got changed. This is one of the most ridiculous, silliest stories ever in the world. That there was Chinese people speaking a language, and I guess they all found each other and all migrated to China. The Aboriginal people all got together and then went to Australia. This is foolishness. But the religious people had to create this story to try to explain where all these languages came from. Remember, this place took place only in the Shinar, or what they call the Sumerian area. Nothing happened in India. Nothing happened over in Jamaica. Nothing happened with the Olmecs. Nothing happened with anybody on the planet. They found bones in Morocco, Homo sapiens, that are 350,000 years old. This didn't happen anywhere near Morocco. So all the people that were in Morocco in 3000 BC, guess what? They kept speaking the Moroccan language. They were there 350,000 BC, and they're still there today. This is ridiculous. What is the truth? What is the oldest of the languages? And is it Hebrew? Is it Hebrew? What is this? What is the languages? We're going to actually take a look. One moment. And imagine, everybody, we all believed in this. Nobody ever questioned this in church. We accepted this. Imagine how mentally retarded we had to be to hear this and never question it. That is what the Matrix does. It creates a mind that will not even question the most obvious of things. And this is why I feel sorry for my Hebrew Israelite brothers who believe in this type of silliness. They actually believe this is where languages came from. And my Christian brothers who actually believe this is where languages came from. Okay, let me do this. Okay. Oh, sorry, my screen is going wild. 1 second, everybody, please. I'm trying to get you guys to a certain part of the screen. Okay, so let's take a look and see something, everybody. The Mighty Hebrew and other brothers will tell you that this let me get to the screen. Let me screen share. Screen share. Okay. They will tell you, unfortunately, that this is the oldest language. The good brother Mighty Hebrew has this on his flag, and they call it Paleo Hebrew. They will tell you this is the oldest language. This is the language of the Hebrews. This is the language of God, because there's no ancient scripture written in any other language. There's no ancient people other than the Hebrews that received the word of God. Analyze these letters that they say is the original lettering. And let's take a look. Oh, let me take a look up here. One moment, everybody. Hold on. Scratch out that. Okay, look. Okay. So when we look at this language and we analyze this language, we'll find out that these languages are dated, and you can see the origins of them. So here is the Semitic language, and I want everybody to understand that there was no ancient people that ever called themselves Semitic people. That term was created around 300 years ago, and nobody called themselves that. But here's the Semitic, so-called, and the Phoenician, and there's no Hebrew language either. If you look at them, you can see the origins of where these things come from. Let's blow it up a little bit and blow it up a little bit more. We can see the letter A in Greek developed the letter A in Roman, and this is our letter A today in English. It is the sideways, a leaf from the Phoenicians, which is actually the image of an ox head turned sideways. Right side up, it goes back 1500 BC, and it originates over here in Kemet, 3200 BC, to the ox head. When Hebrews and Christians talk about this place called Bethlehem, or this house, and they use this term Beta, and they say Beta Israel, the house of Israel. When we go back, we see the Phoenician, we see the so-called Semitic, and then we see the origin, and we see the origin in the Meduneter. So we can see that this so-called first language, or this Hebrew language, when we look it up again, we see the Hebrew language, 1st, 2nd century BC, and its parents are the Egyptian hieroglyphics. Hebrew, older than that, is Aramic. Its parents, Phoenician, Proto-Sinaitic. Understand also, all these terms here are all European invented terms. Nobody ever heard of a language called Phoenician. Nobody in ancient times heard of Proto-Sinaitic script. These are all religious terms that are created to give validity to the Bible stories. And over here we have hieroglyphics, which is in actuality Meduneter. Okay, once again, when we look, here is the Phoenician language that they're calling ancient Hebrew. It was not called ancient Hebrew. It's Punic, Canaanium, the Canaanite language. Okay. We come over here. Oops, sorry. And I like to give people these things because these are things that are easily researchable before we get into the deeper information that is a little more difficult to research. Now, they'll say that the first letter in English is the letter A. It begins the alphabet, but why? Why does the letter A begin the alphabet? Why is it the very first letter in English? Why is it the very first letter? Why is it the oldest letter? Why is it the beginning letter? Because it represents an ox head, a bull's head. The oldest, the deity of sound and tongue is Ptah, mentioned in the Shabaka stone of 700 BC. He's the deity of sound and tongue, aka language and communication. He is called Ptah. His symbol was this right here, which is the ox horns that became your English and Hebrew letter A or Aleph, which came from this, the bull's head of Kemet. The bull's head of Kemet was the ox horns that became the Aleph of Arabic and the Aleph of Hebrew. So the origin of the Aleph in Hebrew has no origin in Hebrew culture. Its origin is in Kemetic culture, because Ptah means the opening. Why? Why does this deity right here, this bull right here, why does his name mean the opening? And why is his symbols the horns? Because in Africa or in the motherland, this is what the bull does to lions. The lion that's considered the king of the jungle, another, which is incorrect because lions don't live in jungles, but the lion who's considered the king of the jungle is lifted up and opened by the horns of the male bull. The male bull's horns are literally the opener because they gouge out other animals and open them up in a fight. People along the Nile Valley would see this on a regular basis. People all over the so-called land of Africa would see this on a regular basis. When a bull is with his female cows, the bull comes up front forward and rears his horns. So that's the bull is the one up front, and it's the opener with his horns. This is how the letter A became the opener of language, because Ptah was the opener in the beginning of the gods in the Shabaka stone. Do you see the bull here opening up and digging in to the lion? The fight is over. This the ancient Kemetans would see, and they would call this the Ptah, the opener, when you see this on a regular basis. And that's why the horns of the bull, this is the transition of the horns of the bull, goes from Egyptian hieroglyphics, Meduneter, into the Semitic, Paleo-Semitic, modern Latin, and we can see it changing all the way into the Hebrew, morphing, which means that this was not first. When they say the whole earth was speaking one language, this was not the language, because this came after this, and this came from this, and this story has a Kemetic origin. The Aleph in Hebrew has no origin story in in the Hebrew stories. There's nothing in the Hebrew that explains the Aleph. Okay. There's much more, but let's get into the actual dating of the older languages, of the older language of Medu-Neter. And we will see that also no culture on the planet Earth verifies this Tower of Babel story. You see? Because if this Tower of Babel story was correct, then whichever man spoke that language, he would be the father of that culture, or they would be the father of that culture. That means if they went over to Saudi Arabia and there was 5 men from the Tower of Babel that were all speaking, and the other guy was saying, "Oh, I understand," and the other man was like, "Oh," and they all started communicating with each other, those would be the originators of the new culture, because they'd have to form a culture based on that language. Therefore, they would be considered the forefathers. And what would the forefathers do? They would tell a story of how they got that language. That means there should be a story in ancient Iraq or Saudi Arabia of the Tower of Babel. There should be a story. The Chinese should have a story of where did China come, where did the Chinese language come from? Well, our first forefathers got this language because they were trying to build a tower, and this is how they got this language. Every single culture would have this as a story. The only problem is that not a single culture has it as a story. Now, I'm going to do I'm going to show something here, the archaeology, because we deal with archaeological facts and information, because from archaeological facts and information, it's very easy to build your spiritual system, because the ancient ancestors left their information that's found in archaeology. They didn't leave it in fairy tales that are made up in the 1900s or in the 1800s when religious Christian organizations were created. Now, this here is an article in the Archaeology Institute of America, and it goes on to say the earliest Egyptian glyphs, early writing from Abydos, that's Abtu, which means the east, was used to label containers. Okay, I'm going to blow this up a little bit. And it says bone and ivory tags, pottery vessels. And that's how you know that this is old, because in ancient Egypt there was elephants. In post-pharaonic Egypt, as they say, you don't really find elephants until you get to Abu, or what they call Elephantine. But this was a time when there were elephants in that area. But he says the vessels and clay ceiling impressions bearing hieroglyphics unearthed at Abydos, 300 miles south of Cairo, has been dated between 34 and 3200 BC. 3400 BC is before Narmer. So when they tell you that Narmer was the first pharaoh and he began Egypt, absolutely incorrect. 300 years to 400 years prior to Narmer, they're already speaking, reading, and writing Medu-Neter, making them the oldest known examples of Egyptian writing. The tags measured by 2½ centimeters, containing between 1 and 4 glyphs, were discovered by excavators, German Archaeology Institute in Cairo. Pre-dynastic ruler Scorpion I's tomb. Okay, this is in volume 52. Number 2 came out in 1999 in the Archaeology Institute of America. Now, here's what's interesting about this old language, is that at this time, there's not a Hebrew letter found. Not one Hebrew letter found. That means if the Hebrews are telling us that all the old patriarchs and Adam and Eve were speaking Lashon Kadush, the language of the holy, the language of the holy. But this goes back 3200 BC, and in 3200 BC, we don't find one Hebrew letter, not even a letter, in any form of archaeology. Now I want to show people something. Oh, by the way, this is the tomb that they found this in at the bottom here. I want to take a look, show you a look at something. Okay, one of the oldest words found in our Earth's history is this one right here. This is Tehuti. This is the Aku bird and the Cam bird, which is a symbol of Tehuti. The Habu bird, or what they're calling the ibis. Aku, which was a word that meant light, was the same word for the spiritual entity or the spiritual consciousness that is inside of each man and woman. It's called the Aku or the Ku, which is a Kemetic word for intelligence. But here is the oldest term for spirit and light consciousness that we can find on the planet Earth. So these people that were going back 3400 BC and even before were already writing about light consciousness and already knew about spirituality thousands of years before any kind of Torah or Hebrew writing system or any new god that came to claim that they brought spirituality to the planet. If you ask any religious person, who brought spirituality to the planet? It would have to be God. So why is the oldest word for spirit found on this planet a Medunetta word, which is this Aku Tehuti bird, the Habu bird, which is found right in the Purim Haru, that is your light conscious body, the Aku. Okay? So this is more from the article. Okay? And this is again more from that article if anybody wants to go research it and look it up. Okay? Now this is the Achillean hand axe from Kemet. This is known as one of the oldest weapons on the planet. They say it was used as a weapon and it was also used to cut meat. One moment, please. Hold on. One moment. Oh, he put in the chat. God mind. I got that, and I couldn't see where the question was. God mind. I just got informed that you sent a question, and I actually have a set of super chats that have. It says a question from God mind, but I didn't see the question in the email, so I'll have to look through the super chats when it is I'll look through the chat room when it is time to see what the question was, because there was no question that was sent to me directly. But I know you have a question somewhere, and I'll look in the chat for it. So let's get back to this. So this is the oldest weapon. This is one of the oldest. Signs of intelligence in man, and it's a hand axe found in Kemet, and what the whites and the Arabs call Nakada, Egypt. No such place. They called it Nebet, not Nakada. Those are Arabic. Those are new words. So, and thank you, Sonia Reddit. She's a great class. Thank you so much. Okay, this goes back 3.3 million years ago to the end of the Pleistocene, which is 11,650 years ago. What happened at around 11,650 years ago? The Younger Dryas that I described last class. The Younger Dryas, when certain men and animals were wiped out. So here is the hand axe, and this is found in Kemet. Okay, then we have these ones that are 495 years older than the earliest Egyptians. Likely Egypt was occupied by hominids during the cooler periods. And here's the old hand axes. Okay, this hand axe in Kemet developed into this right here. And I'm going to show you how a hand axe that's developed by the consciousness and the intelligence of the people along the Nile going back 3 million years ago, before it was even called Kemet, before there was a name for the area, hominids lived in that area for millions and millions of years until they eventually created this. Now, these are axes. These ones over here are axes that go back 250,000 to 90,000 years ago, and then they develop into this right here. This is going to be familiar to you in a moment, and this is the Egyptian axe, a symbol of power. We can see the evolution of the hand axe into this axe, and I'll tell you what you're looking at. You're looking at this piece right here tied on to a piece of wood. Oops. Tied onto a piece of wood, which becomes that right there. This develops into this right here. Okay, so now we're in the ceremonial axe of Akhmos of 1500 BC, and this is the ceremonial axe of Akhmos. We can see the development, how it goes from this crude thing right here, from these to this, and eventually gets and becomes this beautiful golden piece right here. Okay, this can also be found in Netert Ahotep, which means the moon is satisfied, and her tomb right in the tomb right here, and here it is again. Okay. Okay, this is in the Cairo Museum, and then we have the pyramid texts, which go back 2400 BC, 21 to 2400 BC, and here is the so-called pyramid. It was called the Aku or the Aket that these writings are inside of. Constructed at Saqqara around 4,700 years ago, called the Step Pyramid. Okay, and I showed this. Oh, let me get back to that. Sorry. Okay, I showed this. Here's the inside of that pyramid, where you can see the oldest known spiritual writings on the planet. I actually showed this in one of my debates, but this is inside of the Step Pyramid. At this time, note again, there's not a Hebrew word on the planet. There's not a Hebrew letter anywhere on the planet while this is here existing. Full grammatically structured sentences with nouns, pronouns, adjectives, verbs, full sentence structure.
There's still color in this place. It's astonishing.
And this is the pyramid text, the oldest known spirituality.
Unusual hieroglyphs that were pointed out to us by Yusuf and Muhammad, who both are accomplished. They both read hieroglyphs. It's fantastic. The two of them, they explain everything you see. They can read them and interpret them.
So there's your oldest spiritual language. Okay, now what's interesting is when you look at this, this is the pyramid text. Over here, this is a section of it. The pyramid text is on walls, so it has to be put in sections. So here's the pyramid text over here, and then over here we see we are in the pyramid text translation, utterance 523. Over here we see where the words of the gods is heard. Over here, the words of the gods. Over here on line 731, words of the gods. Okay, well, how do you translate words of the gods? It is right here, Medut Neter. So in the pyramid text, it mentions the language and the origin of why it's called that. It was called Medut Neter, which literally meant the echoing emissions of the Netiru. In the pyramid text and in the books of Ptah-hotep, the word Medut Neter is mentioned. No word Hebrew exists at the time. Okay? These are the maxims of Ptah-hotep. The oldest known moral writings on the planet Earth are the maxims of Ma'at of Ptah-hotep. And over here in Maxim 3, we have the beginning of the collection of fine words. Over here, fine words, we see medut neferut. Medut neferut. So that word medut was used far back before there was any Hebrew, Greek, Arabic, Aramaic, any of these so-called writings that claim to bring scripture or the word of God. Now, I want to go back. I want to go to, let me see if it's in here. I want to go to the words of God again. And there it is. Here it is right here. See this symbol right here in the beginning? That's the axe. That's the same axe that we saw evolve from 3.3 million years ago, before there was Homo sapiens, hominids, evolve into the simple axe, and then evolve into this word, which became the word for netter. So all along the Nile Valley, the people were using the things that they created, which eventually became this ancient language, which was carved to define or describe images that they've been familiar with for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Again, no Hebrew to be found. I'm going to end right there just on this topic, and you guys can do the rest of the research on that. All those articles are available. The Pyramid Text translation is available. So the point is, if the oldest spiritual language, the oldest spiritual writings are the Medunetter, it's the Pyramid Text, the oldest reference to leaving the body, the afterlife, is in the Pyramid Text. Who gave it to these people? Because only God would have had the information on the planet to give it to his people, because no one on the planet would have known of this, because God didn't speak to anybody else according to the biblical narrative. So there should be an older Hebrew writing of spiritual teachings that predates this, if there was a God that spoke and taught the Hebrews, or Adam and Eve, in this Hebrew language first, and there's none. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to look back at, I have some cash apps that I received from Mind. Let me go back to this here.
Peace and extraordinary build. Lord Tehuti. How you brought the glyph back from the Egyptian tool. The tool used from the hominoids. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Yes, this is what it's all about.
They're identical. The glyph is identical to the image of the artifact.
Absolutely. So we're gonna go. Thank you, brother. So we're gonna look over this is from this is Cash App. Thank you for the support. Dominique Lamar, who is Obi Lati, and put your website, if you can hear me, put your website in the chat, brother, so the people here can go to it. And it's a Facebook group, and then go to it and participate. I'm an administrator over there. Thank you, brother, for your support. There was no question in there. It was just just support. And then we have $5 from Shane Selleck, who I think is Donkey. But it says, for God Mind's question. Okay, so thank you, Shane, for sending a Cash App support for someone else's question, who is God Mind. So the next up is going to be God Minds, I believe. Let's see. God Minds. And Malcolm Mason for God Mind's question. I'm not sure if these are all different people that are sending in support for our God Mind got them to do it. But whoever everybody is, thank you for supporting God Minds, because I'm getting Cash Apps from other people for God Mind's question. Okay, and lastly, up to date is $18 from Nito Campbell. Thank you, Nito Campbell, for your support. And now I'm going to look back in the room and look for God Minds question. And thank you, Sonia Reddit, who says, great class, master teacher. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah. Okay, thank you. And I am looking for God's Minds. Okay, so God Minds,
He's the sixth one going upwards. Purple Jeep.
Do you want me to read you the question?
Sure. I think I see it. Yes, I see it. I see it here. God Mind. Okay, so God Mind. Let me put it on the screen. Got it. So this is God Mind's question. Thank you for the support and those who supported the question for God Mind's question. And that is, my question is, what is the specific process according to the ancients for becoming a Christ? What is the purpose for that process? Meaning, what did it accomplish? Robert Reyes, peace, brother. I see you in the room. Okay, so one more. Where's the Nanny, give me a paper napkin. One more, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let's see if I have. And I love this. This keeps everyone sharp. It keeps me sharp. I have no idea what the questions are going to be when they do come in. So let's take a look, and give me a moment, and let me pull up some papyrus and pull up lit. So I want everybody to first understand what these words are. What these words are. So yes, in Christianity, in Christianity, the highest position is known as a man named Christ. Christ is the highest man, and he's called Christ because it's supposed to mean the anointed one. Full translation. Here we go. It's supposed to mean the anointed one. And he was anointed, and he died, and he resurrected. Okay, here we go. One moment. Nanny, can you pass me both my Purim Harus. The one looks beat up, and one looks a little newer.
Which one do you want?
Both of them.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we're gonna see the order. I'm gonna, you know what? Okay, careful. Let me interact with the people and see what the people know. before I even start into this. So everybody in the room, if you can type in the room, and I'll put up on the screen. What is this? There's a word that the brother Godmind gave. He said Christ, and then there's another word beside it. Who knows why these? What is that other word there? What is that?
Egyptian.
Oh, let me get back to the screen. What is that word though? Does anybody know what that word is? What is it?
According to my research, it traces itself back with no vowel language. But what I see.
Okay. So okay, thank you, brother. And somebody put in the room, Christos. That's right, Christos in Greek. This brother put Christ -L. Okay, wonderful. This word, Christ, or as he put KRST, I'll put it back up on the screen. This word comes from the Per-Em Heru, and it is actually KRST. The T at the end makes it feminine because it represents birth. I'm going to go ahead and
I just came across recently Tehuti share the process of learning and when that state of knowledge come with the T was in the book at the beginning by Gerald Macy. He broke down the T and the feminine aspect and the hieroglyphics.
Okay, wonderful. Let me go ahead and do a screen share. We have great minds in here. Wonderful. Let me go ahead and do a screen share, and we'll get into the root of where this comes from. And then once we understand where it comes from, we'll be able to understand what the process actually was. Okay, so here we are in the Book of the Dead, Per-Em Heru, and we are on page 50, plate 10. So if you have the Book of the Dead, the Budge version, the yellow book, you can turn to page 50. If you have the Per-Em Heru on the original plates, the pictures with the plates, then you go to plate 10. And it is the same. Now it goes on to say, now that day of the union of the two earths and the gathering of the two earths, it is at the sarcophagus of Osiris, the living soul in the Sutin Henin. Now, the word there is KRST, where they're getting this word Christ from. It's actually the place that you put the dead body into in order to preserve it, because it's preserved by the seneb plant. The seneb plant is the flax plant, which starts off green, and it is used to wrap the body, and then it starts to turn white. When it turns white and it's around the body, it is a representation of an egg protecting the insides that are actually developing to come forth by day. And this is where you get the term Per-Em Heru from. Now what's interesting is that this word KRST is really symbolic of a rebirth. It is a place you're put in where you are reborn into the afterlife. I'm going to show how the Europeans who are attracted to death changed it and hid the word KRST under the word sarcophagus. And the word sarcophagus means absolutely nothing that has to do with KRST. The word KRST actually comes from Ker, which is a hole, which represents something going through a tunnel or a passageway, and it means to be underneath something. to Ker. This is where you get the term Netter Kurt from. The underworld going into the underworld, the non-physical realm that is underneath the atomic world, in the realm of the Amen, for preparation of the rebirth of coming forth by day. Okay, so here's where the word KRST came from. The word KRST is actually the tomb that one is placed inside of. Now, I want to show you how it got mutated. Oh. Let's see if we can find it here. Okay, so the word gets mutated into sarcophagus because the European, again, naturally not understanding that the KRST was something that you were placed in so your body could be processed, could be protected, so that your soul could be processed to be reborn again, not the body reborn again, but the soul reborn again, such as Jesus being reborn again, which is where they get the concept from. They took it and they associated it with violence, and this is what they always do. So the word sarcophagus, let me go back to the room here. The word sarcophagus, how many people know, or who knows what the word sarcophagus means? Because the word KRST or KRST became today the word sarcophagus. That's why the word sarcophagus is under the translation of the word KRST. But what does the word sarcophagus actually mean? It means
Greek. Get that for you.
Okay. And thank you, God Mind. Thank you, God Mind. Okay. And we'll be back to you two brothers in a moment. But the word sarcophagus, right? And KEMETICNRG, are you looking it up right now, the word sarcophagus? And I taught this before.
Yes, I have it in my digital records on the phone. Using the camera.
Okay, do you have it real quick that you could just read off? Let me see what it says.
It might take me.
Okay, no problem. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. And the word means flesh eating. Flesh eating. Let me go ahead and show this factually how they turned a word that dealt with everlasting life and preservation, the KRST, into a violent word, which means flesh eating, the actual opposite of what the word KRST is, because KRST was the thing you were placed into to protect your flesh, to protect your body, which is why they found tombs with bodies in them perfectly preserved from 5,000, 6,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, because it was to preserve the flesh. But of course, the European comes by and they say, oh, this is the flesh eating. The flesh eating. Well, no flesh was being eaten. It was actually preserving the flesh. Okay, let me get back to the room. Get back to the room here. Okay. Let me get back on my screen. So it was the preservation. Now, the process sometimes would take up to 271 days to prepare what's called the Sahu. The Europeans again came and turned the word Sahu into a violent word, because now the word Sahu is the word mummy. And what does mummy mean? Mummy is mumia, an Arabic word from black bitumen, which represents flesh eating. It is the bitumen that they say the skin would turn into, that was similar to the oil that came out of a bark, and the Europeans would go around eating they would wear a I think this is something KEMETICNRG also was asking about earlier, a month ago or so. But they would wear a pouch, and they would keep the skin of the sahu in the pouch, and then they would the skin of the so-called mummy in a pouch, and they would eat it. So they were doing flesh eating. So we have to understand that the European was obsessed with taking something that was sacred and pure, which represented everlasting life, and turn it into something that was violent. That was his nature. I'm going to go ahead and show the KRST and the mummy inside of it, the word that was used. Sahut was a word that was used, and there were several words that were used, and they represented the woman's vagina, or the ability to be born again. Okay, this word was shetet. Shetet, and I'll go ahead and show it on the screen. This was the word for the mummy that was inside of the KRST. That took sometimes a process of hold on, what happened there? Took sometimes a process of 271 days to perform, and usually a process of 72 days to represent Tehuti, but some would take even longer than that. I'll go ahead and show what was inside of the KRST. And that was this word right here. We see to tie up in linen, to swathe a mummy. You see the word shed. When you see the when you see the dot at the bottom of the T, that's a soft D. So it's shed. It's shed, which represented what Europeans call the mummy. That would not have been called a mummy. It would have been called a shed, which was to tie up, to give birth to something. Shed is where you get the English word shed from, and shed became a term that was associated with the woman's menstrual cycle or her ability to shed blood, which I broke down in the first Podclass. And that's why if you go to the same word for mummy that you see on the screen, is the exact same word for vagina, vulva. So the word for mummy was the same word for vagina, because the Kemetians were constantly associating life, death, and sex. Life, death, and sex, because all three of those are in actuality the same. So the shetet was put inside of the KRST, and it was prepared for a rebirth. It was not done to it wasn't done to a living person. No living person went into a KRST. So no living person was the Christ or a KRST. It was literally an object you were placed inside of after you were dead. Now, here is the here is the reference to the European eating black people's skin, and this is where you got the new term mummy from, which came from cannibalism. This concept, you should see a white screen right now, but it should be pulling up shortly, hopefully. If not, I'll redo it. Here it is. Okay. The Complete Book of the Egyptians, and this is page 61. Mummy flesh was in great demand in Europe during the 16th and 17th centuries. As medicinal, it was a common drug to be found in all apothecaries. Mistaken for Persian mumma or pitch, which was used to heal cuts and bruises. Mummy flesh was believed to make fractures unite in a few minutes and be good with all kinds of eternal ailments. When mummies became scarce, traders used the bodies of executed Christians or bodies removed from hospitals, many of which had died of loathsome disease. The bodies were stuffed with bitumen and wrapped in bandages and baked to imitate what they saw happening in Kemet. That was your mummy. That was your mummy. So they were eating people. Okay. This was in actually this was in the book called Secrets of the Pyramid. Okay. So they were eating people, walking around with these people and eating people. They imitate this practice to this day. They imitate this practice to this day. Okay, we'll let that load up. Okay, so to the question of the preparation was what they call the mummification preparation of the dead, not let me stop screen sharing, sorry. Not of the living. The living were prepared through following Ma'at. But the dead were actually the ones that put in the KRST and they were put in there and they were called the Sahut or the Shadet after they were wrapped in a green cloth, which eventually became the white cloth, which eventually represented the egg, and that's why in the Purim Haru it spoke about the dead coming from the egg. Now, this is actually something I'm going to be explaining on Sunday, and I'll give you guys a peek into it. But this is something that I'm going to be explaining on Sunday, and it deals how now this concept became the KRST. Why KRST became associated with the mummy. And I'm going to explain also on Sunday how they use this KRST word, or this KRST concept of the heck and the coup, or the hook and the flail, to actually create magic that they use to implement us to believe in the George Floyd killing. But I won't let too much of that go right now. But here is let me do a screen share. Okay, and then we'll get into a little bit more of how you can purify yourself, because you have to be purified. You have to go through a process in the living before you're even qualified to become. Not everybody in Kemet got mummified, as they call it. So this is called the Heket, and it's the crook. The Hek. Hek is a word for power. It's also a word for magic, as they translate it to. And this is the word Hek, found in the pyramid text. That Zion Lex tried to say that this came from some Sumerians or some sheep herders or some other Hebrew type people, when in actuality this is found in the pyramid text going back 2400 BC, and it's this symbol right here. It looks like this, and this becomes the shepherd's staff. Okay, so the shepherd's staff goes all the way back to, it's even found with Narmer in 3200 BC, which is before the pyramid text, and you see him with the hook and the flail going back 4th millennium, and we see Ramesses holding this. Okay, now here is how it becomes the KRST, and the KRST when they add the book of Psalms, which is this chapter is a magical chapter used by Illuminati Freemasons, and I'm going to explain tomorrow. But it says, the Lord is my rod and my staff. This is the rod and the staff. And we can see over here, if we blow this up and just put this to the side, we can see Jesus over here. And when you put it to this side, it is any one of the pharaohs. Jesus in the Bible is called the one with the winnowing fan. The winnowing fan is this same fan, which is something that's used to hit wheat. So then, here is the KRST over here on this side. This is King Tut, and this is the KRST right here. So this is the object that a mummy. So this is you have the KRST, and then inside of this goes the body, which is the Sahu, or which is called the mummy. But this is the KRST. And his hands are together, holding himself together. And I'll go back to the screen. Holding himself together like this. When you see the pharaohs like this, it's called the Temt, T-E-M-T, and it represents holding yourself together, because you do not want to be separated into 14 parts or separated into parts like Set did Osar. The opposite of this is to be separated into multiple parts in the afterlife, which means that you're not one being anymore. You cannot have a Ren. When you're like this, it represents holding yourself together, and that was called the Temt, to hold yourself together. And that's why all the mummies, or the pharaohs, were buried like this, holding the hook and the flail, which were shepherds' objects, shepherds' tools. Okay, so that was so the preparation of that is long and extensive, and it's a mummification preparation to create the KRST, not a Christ.
Wow. He got the bomb.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, my brother. Now, thank you, my brother. I appreciate that. So now, now, to become that in the living form, which means that the preparation, the end preparation is the death preparation. But each night you can practice this while you're alive. Okay? I just had class with my goddesses Wednesday on this topic. And each night you have the opportunity to practice. To practice death while you're alive. Or to practice how to come out of your body while you are alive. Holding your consciousness together so that you can reintegrate into the physical body and have a memory of it from the string of consciousness that's brought in, that's connecting your physical body to your bioenergetic template, which is called your Ka, and then from your bioenergetic template you have the pure energetic projectable double. And the pure energetic projectable double projects what's called in the Purim Haru, the Setut. The Setut, which is the body that walks out of the body. The Setut. Now, I'm going to show you in the Purim Haru, and I would suggest that this is, well, it doesn't look like this is the new cover I made, but this was a practice guide. The Book of the Dead was a practice guide for those who are in the living to prepare to continue your consciousness after you are dead, but you could practice it at nighttime. Okay, so first I'm going to show something. Let me go to so much. And that's how you can practice becoming the KRST, or becoming the Sahu, and becoming the conscious being each night by going through that process. And
And the spelling is correct. The spelling is correct, Tehuti? The KRST is correct?
It can be a K or a Q, an R, an S, and then the T. The T is symbolizing birth. It's a feminine principle. When you add the letter T, this light. Add the letter T to the end of a word, it represents birth, because the whole concept of the Book of the Dead is being rebirthed. So when you take the KRST and add the T to the end of it, it is now in the process of the feminine principle, which is being born again, but now you're being born again in the afterlife, in the Netzerkert. So it's Q or K R S, and then you can add a T. It doesn't have to have the T at the end of it. The one
So without the T, is it automatically assumed to represent masculine?
No.
No.
Yes. No. The T represents a birthing process. That's why they associate it with the feminine. They associate it with the feminine because the feminine is the birther. It doesn't mean if it doesn't have a T, then it's masculine. No, the feminine just emphasizes the birthing process that the KRST is eventually going to go through.
Good. Thank you, sir.
Yes. 1 second. Hold on a second. Where is I? Where are we? Okay. So I'm going to show this image here. This is an image depiction of what it would look like for yourself doing the preparation when you purify yourself, do ritual practice, and eventually can have a free out-of-body experience where your body is the egg and the body that's born out of it is flying out like a hawk, which is why there's a chapter in the Book of the Dead called The Transformation into a Hawk. Let me do this. So many things to show you all. Let me just... Okay. And I want to tell everybody again, emphasize for the new people in the room, all these questions that are asked, I have no idea what's going to be asked. So I'm literally pulling up my teachings and things that I've put together live to answer these, not pre-prepared or anything. So that's what I'm doing when I tell you guys, everybody, to hold on for a moment, and I have to keep focused. It would be under so much stuff, so much things. Out of body terms, and where's the Satut? Here it is. Okay, here we go. Okay, what I'm going to show you all is the Book of the Dead, Perm Haru, page 4, and we're going to analyze something you can actually say at night, something you can actually say before you go to sleep. But when you say this, by seeing what's in the Medu Netter, what's in the Medu, you'll have a better understanding of what this is actually meaning. Because we're going to look at the word walk, and then we're going to see the word behind it in the language. So let me go ahead and do a screen share, and this is something you can do to practice to be the born out of the KRST. You don't want to be the KRST. You want to come out of that. So here we go. There we go. So here is we are on page 4, the Purim Haru, and it talks about here, sorry for my mouth, the atet boat. I want you to know this word atet means consciousness, which I'll probably break down in another class. But this word that they're translating as boat, it actually means consciousness echoing. The atet and tet is where you get the word tut from, King Tut from. And the symbol that you see above it is the quantum string theory symbol called the Neith, which is symbolized by the spider that I'm wearing on my hat. Her name is Neith, and it is quantum string theory, our photonic entanglement, that all things are really entangled, and these quantum strings are below the atomic and even the subatomic level, and they're connecting all things on a realm that you can see. And this actually is scientific. This symbol is a scientific symbol used in science today, but it is actually the word atet, and it is your consciousness echoing. That's where you get the word tut from, as an image. And this is your consciousness that is smoothly echoing and traveling as smooth as a boat would sail. So that's in the English, they'll put the word boat. But I'm going to tell you now this is consciousness, and in a future class I'll show you where this word actually means your consciousness. So you're flowing like a boat, your consciousness is copying, it's making copies of itself, and may he grant the view of the disk and the sight of the moon god. That's Yah. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is where the Hebrew word Yah comes from. When you see the letter A there with a dot, that's making a Y sound. This is Yah, which is Tehuti. That's where the Hebrews get the word Yah from. When this god Yah was being spoken of, there was not one reference in any archaeological find of any deity called Yah speaking about anything that has to do with the belief of Hebrews. This is Tehuti, the god of writing, which is why the first time that the God in the Bible had contact with the man giving him information, the very first contact was writing with his finger, because Tehuti's symbol was a finger. It's another class though. Now it says, without ceasing every day, coming forth, per ba, the coming forth of my soul. Your soul to walk. So you'll see the word there, walk, about every place it pleases. I want to analyze right here. The coming forth of your soul to walk about every place that it pleases, which is the whole focus and purpose of an out of body, is for your soul to come out of your body, your consciousness to come out of your, to appear to come out of your body, because actually making echoes of itself, that's creating refined versions of itself, so that each refined version can vibrate on its own frequency, and then the next one can vibrate on a frequency above it, and on and on and on. It's called walking, but you see the word tut here as well. So we have setut, and then over here we have atet. Atet and setet. But here the word setet is to walk. It says your soul is walking, but what does the word setet actually mean? Setet, setut, is a word that means copy or an image, to make a copy of something. So why would the word for walking also be the word for making a copy or an image of something? There it is, setet, in the dictionary on page 593, to walk, but over here, setet, is to make a copy of something. So what's really happening here, what's really going on here, is that the soul is not, here it is again, right, setet, to walk. I actually took pictures of me of the book, right out of the book, and this is called bilocation, trilocation, multi-location, to be able to be located in more than one place, because walking means movement, right? But walking in the spiritual realm is not necessarily done with feet. You don't have to use your feet to walk in this realm. What's actually happening and how you're moving is, in actuality, you're making copies of yourself. Let me go ahead and see if I can find image for you of making the copies of yourself, because that's actually happening. So this is an image that that an out of body would look like. Let me see. And I already had it here. Here it is. So here on the screen, this is what it would be. Your physical body will be laying on the bed. It will make a projected. You have a bioenergetic template, which is your Ka, and then you have the pure energetic body. You have your pure energetic projectable double, and the pure energetic projectable double is your Ba, because it's traveling, that we would associate with walking. But what's actually happening is each body that's coming out is making a copy of itself, a projected copy of itself, and then that one is making a copy of itself, and that one's making a copy of itself, so that you never really leave your body. What's actually happening is each copy is connected to the one behind it, and the one behind that, and the one behind that, and the one behind that. And so you are constantly connected through this etheric cord that's connecting all of these, and that's how you can just go backwards and slam back into your body. You never really fully left. You just made copies, and that's why in the Book of the Dead, to become that which comes out of the KRST, that which is born again, it says your Ba is free to walk, but the word for walk is making a copy or an image of something before it, the Tut, as in King Tut. So this is the copy that you're making, and you're making a copy of that, and each one is walking, symbolically walking. They're moving, but in actuality they're making copies copies of themselves. Here's another depiction of it in a book called Astrodynamics. And you have the physical body laying down on the bed. You have the expanded energetic body. Expanded energetic body is the Ka, because it can expand a little bit outside the peripheral of the body, but it never really leaves. It stays there and keeps the consciousness around the body, while your real-time projectable double starts to make echoes of itself and starts to create higher bodies. And that's why in Kemet, the word for walking out of your body is the word for a copy. It's making copies and copies and copies. Okay, I'm going to stop right there for now. I'm going to stop right there for now. Let me see something here. Okay. So, the first thing I would suggest the brother Godmind do is first contact me directly. I will guide you on which Books of the Dead to get. The Books of the Dead that I show is one of them. There's also one with plates that you can use the imagery to have out-of-body practices and experience, so you can become that which resurrects out of the KRST, the KRST body. You can become that and practice it, and you can have travels. I've done practice. I've walked people through practices. I've sent people out of their body. I've sent people to fly beside cars that are driving. They come back. They tell me the streets numbers. I've sent people out of their body to talk to their dead brothers. I've all types of things that are possible in the pure energetic projectable double reality, and the ability to leave your physical body and head into this realm where there's it's a realm of possibility. It's a realm of quantum. There is no limitation. So thank you, my brother. If you want more elaboration or anything else about this question, Godmind, that is your answer for now. Contact me. I can give you more on steps in Ma'at, how you can become that which leaves the KRST. You don't want to be the KRST. You want to leave that. Go past go beyond that. The KRST is that which is holding you in, and you want your ba to come out of that so you can touch immortality and prepare for when you have your final ejaculation, which is ejaculating out of your body, and then you can continue to be conscious while your physical body dies. Okay? Most cultures taught this, and it was originated in Kemet. Okay, let me get this off the screen. Okay, he says, would a certain diet hinder one's ability? Yes. Definitely a certain diet would hinder one's ability. Would hinder, not prevent, but hinder, slow down, and interfere. Because you need a calm, patient, coherent mind state in the physical form. I just told my goddesses this. The way you practice spirituality, the very first step to practicing any form of spirituality is using the physical world to practice it. In the physical world, things are more finite. Things are touchable. Things are what you see. You can pick them up. You can walk across the street. In the other realm, it's not like that. In the other realm, you have almost unlimited possibilities. So when you practice discipline in the physical world, such as what to eat, there's not one diet for everybody, but everybody can be disciplined on the diet that they create or created for themselves. By practicing a disciplined diet, I could take somebody and make someone a vegan and make someone a meat eater. And none of them will be more disciplined than the other until they apply the discipline to the diet. So if I say, just be a vegan, they'll say, that's right. Being a vegan is healthier than being a meat eater. And guess what they're eating? Everything in sight. Give me a banana. Give me an orange. I want some chips. I want some this. I want some that. They're just eating. But they're vegan. They're vegetarian. Give me this. I want a plate of salad. I want some spaghetti. And then the meat eater says, I eat 4 ounces of chicken at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. 1.5 hours later, I eat 3 ounces of fish with some vegetables. 2 hours later, I eat 3 ounces of ostrich. I have to weigh it out. I have to cut off the fat. Even though it appears to people that the vegan is so-called healthier, which he's not, the meat eater is bad, he's corrupting his body. The meat eater is going to have a better spiritual practice because he's practicing discipline in the physical world with his meat. It doesn't matter. He's practicing and he's more disciplined. So when the vegan goes into his practice and tries to have his out of body, he's going to go into that realm and see a bunch of things and get excited and go everywhere and toss and turn. He's not focused. And I could switch it around. The meat eater could be the one, I'll take a burger, I'll take a chicken. And the vegan could be, I'll take 1/2 of a banana mixed with 3 ounces of squash. It could work either way. So not only does the diet affect your spiritual practice, but if you're disciplined with the diet, I'm going to drink 8 ounces of water 1 hour in between each meal. If you can take that mentality and bring that into the spiritual world, first of all, you can use that to get into the spiritual world, because once you're disciplined physically, you can say, and after I eat this food, you know what, at exactly 15 minutes after 10 o'clock at night, that's when I'm going to lay down and lay on my back and do my spiritual practice. But if you're not disciplined and take the time to mark it in your book, then you will never have a focused spiritual practice. Well, I did it on Saturday. I think I did a meditation Friday. Last month I did a couple of them. This month I did about 5. You're all over the place. And when you get into the spiritual world, you have that all over the place mentality, except for now you can do anything with it. And there's no limitation. So your mind will go all over the place because there'll be no limit out there. and that's how the beings can come possess you, and all kind of tricks and things can be done out there because you're like an excited kid in a candy world, as opposed to going over there as the wise man, woman, focus. Oh, this is the spiritual world I'm in. Okay, I'm going to be calm, disciplined. Oh, that looks like my mom over there. It looks like her. Let me ask a couple questions to test it. Oh, that looks like my dead dog from last year. Let me, and you're calm, and then you can see certain things better than if you're like, "That's my dog. Let me go. What the heck? Yo, man, that's my dead dog. Died last year. Yo, B," and you're going crazy, and it's a succubus. It's a succubus that wants you to be that excited in that realm, so that you can't focus your eye and see what it really is. So the discipline of diet or anything that you do, discipline itself, it can be in kung fu, martial arts, it can be in a fighting technique, it can be in a sleeping. What time do you go to bed at night? Do you have a certain time? Do you keep that time? Do you wake up? When you wake up in the morning, I teach my goddesses, when I wake up in the morning after breakfast, I pull out my Microsoft Word and I write down everything that I'm going to do that day. Everything that I'm going to do that day. And then at the end of the day, I have a check and balance. I did this, check. I did that, check. I did this, check. Oh, this wasn't done. Let me get that. And then I rate myself with a percentage. Oh, today was a 96% day. Today was a 100% day. And that's how you keep yourself spiritually and physically balanced, because you're in control of your own mind. So yes, it can be done with diet. It can be done with fishing. Anything you do, I'm gonna fish just for bass. You keep a control, and that will help you in the spiritual realm. But definitely foods that are gonna clog the mind, foods that are gonna clog the arteries, foods that are gonna keep you hyper like sugar. All of that is anti-productive from any kind of spiritual development. Okay, let me take a look at one thing. 1 second, I'm gonna put the brothers on. I'm gonna take a break for a minute, and I'll be right back. I'll be right back. All right, AHATI, KEMETICNRG, if there's anything you guys want to say while I take a couple minute break, the floor is yours, and pretty soon we're going to be closing up. But go ahead, brothers.
Is there an echo?
Only when I unmute my mic.
Okay. Yeah, I absolutely agree with him with the discipline part, absolutely. And if your mind is chaotic and all over the place, obviously you can't focus. If you can't focus, then how are you going to get into the dream realm? Now, for those of you that don't have a Permem Haru yet, which is this, the Book of the Dead, I suggest also to check out an author called Stephen LaBarge. He wrote numerous books. I have a couple here, but this is one of them. Exploring, they call it lucid dreaming, but exploring the world of lucid dreaming. A lot of you probably heard of him, but he's actually a scientist, and he actually broke down what Tehuti was saying, and he gives exercises in here where you can actually practice. You can practice in the dream state what you want to accomplish in this realm, in the physical state. And I've actually done this. I haven't done it often because, like I said, you can't. So, for instance, when I'll go to sleep tonight, I'll lay down, and I usually have questions going through my mind that are unanswered in this state. So I'll say them out loud. I'll try to visualize what the outcome is that I want, and then I'll just go to sleep. I won't think of like the fine female that I saw on the street today or the car that I want. So once I ask for what I want or what an answer to a question that I have, I have to, this is where discipline comes in. You have to stop any thoughts that are coming in, because they will come in after that and make you start drifting off and thinking about other things. I just try to go to sleep. And what happens is whenever it's happening, you wake up in the dream state. And so I'll give you an example. So one dream I had, and I'm going to give this example because he talks about Jasmine Guy. She was actually in the dream. But I woke up in a classroom, and it looked like a high school classroom. And there was some brother there. I couldn't see his face that clear, but you know, in the dream, you could feel the sensation. So he was just digging into me. He was I can't remember what he was saying, but he was what we used to call it. He was talking junk or cracking jokes or whatever. But he was doing it in a way where the whole class was there watching him doing it, and everybody's laughing, and so he's really going into it. And then I feel like somebody's looking at me, just like in the physical realm. I feel like somebody's looking at me, and I turn around, and I look, and it's Jasmine Guy, and she's looking at me. And she just has a deadpan stare, So she's looking at me, and I'm looking at her, and it's almost like she's telling me, like, and, like, you're not going to react, what are you going to do? So he's going in, and I basically told him, and it was an intense situation. It probably was dealing with something that I went through in my past that I never resolved. So it was an intense situation. And he was bigger than me, stronger than me. And so I looked him in the eyes and I said, yeah, all that talk is fine, but I bet you we step outside, you're not going to do anything. So he just stops talking. Immediately he stops talking. And he looks at me. And then instead of the whole class laughing at me now, they looked at him and they started laughing and cracking. The whole class started laughing and cracking jokes on him. And I looked back at Jasmine Guy, and she just had a big smile on her face. And then I woke up. That's just one instance. But the point that I'm making is, if I had been fearful, like in the past in dreams, and not recognized I was actually in the dream at the time. So for me, when I wake up in a dream, I automatically, my conscious knows something's out of place. So when I woke up in a classroom, I immediately thought, like, no, this is happening at a different part of my life because I'm not in class anymore. I'm not in high school, whatever. So I knew something was off. So once you know something's off, you're in a dream. And I've heard Tehuti mention before where if you really want to know if you're dreaming or not, or in the dream realm, get some Post-it notes and just write like certain things on them, like do my hands look funny, or can I see my weights on the floor, or can I read the numbers on the weights, or whatever. I haven't done that because I've been doing other things to get into the dream realm. But what I notice is that once you begin talking to yourself in that way, prior to you going to sleep, prior to you closing your eyes, the answers that you've been asking, like, am I going to get a job, or am I going to be able to absorb all this information that I'm learning here on the Tehuti podcast? Whatever it is, eventually you will get the answer. Another thing, though, is patience. Again, this goes back to his teaching about discipline. And like I said when I first introduced myself, believe it or not, everything in your life is about discipline. It just is. And it's not fun. It's not easy, because if you grew up in the United States or any Western society, we're taught the exact opposite as children. At least from my experience in the United States, we're taught to be undisciplined. And there's a reason for that. Obviously, a lot of us know this, that the government can control you easier that way. If I'm dealing with somebody that's highly emotional and undisciplined, I can control you. And that's another beautiful thing about discipline. You remain in control. So here's another example. In Santa Monica, this happened recently. This happened maybe like 6 months ago. Santa Monica is known as like a rich area, right? With the stars and everybody, the beach, Muscle Beach, all that stuff. So it's not South Central. It's not Compton. This is in Santa Monica. So I'm on the bus, and there's a brother on the bus, and I'm playing music, and the bus driver told me to turn down the music, and I didn't turn down the music fast enough, so it triggered something in the bus driver and the brother that was sitting on the bus. Now, I don't know if he was trying to defend the bus driver. I don't know. But I said, oh, my bad, and I shut down the music. That's it. So the brother said something, and I smiled, I grinned, because that's what I do. So I smiled and grinned, and he said something like, what, you think this is a joke? So automatically when he said that, I don't know him, even if you know the person. I didn't know him, but knowing what I know, you have to remain in control. And this doesn't just go for me. This is any one of us, because what we're doing now is not the normal thing to do on a Friday night. At least prior to the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, what most people doing in the United States, they're going to clubs, they're drinking, they're at bars, whatever, watching movies. Here, we're learning. So for me to react to what that brother was saying to me, I'm in the wrong. And actually, the Metanetter, I don't have it on me. Let me see. So I highly recommend this book. This is from Miriam Lyncham. And it's a 3-volume series, and and I'll wrap this up pretty soon, Tehuti. It's Ancient Egyptian Literature by Miriam Lyncham, and there's a famous line by Ptahhotep, 2 lines that says not to argue with somebody that's in lower standing than you. Meaning, those of us that are in the Podclass tonight, you have to admit that we are in a higher standing because we are more knowledgeable than most people, else we wouldn't be listening to Tehuti. That's just how it is. Whether people get sensitive about that, or say, like again, I spoke to somebody today and they said, oh, you think you're superior. And there's nothing wrong with that word superior. It just means you're above, you're more knowledgeable. So knowing this, knowing the brother's reaction, I remain calm. And I mean, this brother, he got in my face. He got close, you know. And I just looked at him, and I didn't say a word because Ptahhotep says not to argue. So he got close, like smelling his breath close, like I'm ready to defend myself close. And he just, he burnt out. He walked away. Then the bus driver always stopped the bus now, and she pulled over to the side of the road. And now in my mind, I'm thinking cops. I don't care about the immediate threat. I'm thinking about the beast, because the beast will kill me. He's not going to play the game and talk a bunch of junk and not do anything. He hates me because he works for the Matrix. So are the cops coming? Bus driver said, yeah. She's probably lying, but I'm not taking that chance anymore. So I go to get off the bus. The brother gets off the bus, has his shirt off. He's ready to fight, right? On the sidewalk, and it's a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood. I'm not fighting you on the sidewalk. I'm not doing it. Again, it's going to draw attention. Now, I got to be honest. By this point, I was pissed off. So obviously, he's trying to prove something. So I said, let's go in the alley over here. Let's go. Come on. So as I turn to go into the alley, expecting him to follow, he hops back on the bus. Okay, that's funny. That's great. Good. I walk up 5 blocks, and I hear somebody calling my name, and it's the same brother, because I missed this part. When we were on the bus, I said, you're not going to fight me in flip-flops, man. Unless you're Jackie Chan or Mike Tyson, you're not going to fight me in flip-flops. You'll be slipping all over the place. And I know this. So he went somewhere. I guess he went home, and he put on sneakers. And this is now 10 minutes later, he's saying, let's fight. I want to fight you. Let's fight. He's yelling that to me across the street. So I'm like, what? So he's like, let's fight, man. I got my sneakers on. So make a long story short, it turns out this guy was some sort of Crip blood something. I don't know. And he kept telling me, again, he's in my face. He kept telling me, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to kill you. And there's white people. Everybody's got their phones out. All I'm thinking is police. Because the police have, I don't know this brother, but I know the police kill. So that's the difference. It's like, I know this might be an extreme story, but the difference is that Kemet is all about living by what we see and by evidence, exactly what Tehuti teaches. So I haven't seen evidence that this guy was really a threat other than his mouth. So I'm not saying this to say that I'm perfect or that I'm better than you. What I'm saying is by learning more and more and learning the way of the ancestors and actually living by it, living by Ma'at, extreme emotional activities, I guess you could say, are really, in my mind, the true test of character. Not debating somebody online, not Twitter beefing on your phone, calling somebody out. You know how many times I get cursed by people? You're just typing on a phone, you know? But to have somebody in your face threatening to kill you, most brothers I know would have done something. But all right, so I'll wrap it up. But the point I'm making is that it does work. Following the teachings of the scribes of Ptah and the rest of them. So I'll just leave it at that. Peace.
Okay, thank you, brother. Thank you. Yes, that's for those who are asking. That's brother AHATI there. The brother's been with me for years. The brother below him, KEMETICNRG, has been consistently communicating with me for a while, and that's why I have these two brothers on. Now, I'm going to go through the chat one more time, and I think there's a question that came in from the sister. I think it's the sister, Shannon. And the question was, do I interpret...
Amen. Can I just say one thing? I'll keep it short.
Okay.
I forgot to mention.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, I forgot the point that I was making. I forgot to mention because I saw a comment. It popped up. When he was in my face, so when somebody's in your face like that, and you feel like you want to, you know what I mean, hammer him, or I don't know if you're like that. I was originally like that before I met Tehuti. I kept telling the brother, I'm in control. You're not in control. I'm in control. And it worked to tell me that, and it worked to basically keep him at a distance because he's probably never heard that. He probably is used to somebody reacting to him, get into a fight, cops come, and then whatever happens. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, brother. Thank you. And the sister, Shannon Southard, was asking if I do. I can't find it now, but she did ask, do I do dream interpretations? You can contact me directly. I teach people how to comprehend their dreams. I do show certain symbolisms in dreams, but I teach people how to have the power for them to understand what they're seeing in their dreams, as opposed to me doing dream interpretation, because I want you to be conscious enough to go into your own dream and find the information right there, because information is actually held in your subconscious. So definitely the sister that asked, I believe it was this sister here, sister or brother, I think it's sister because Shannon, definitely yes, you can be taught that. Contact me. For those who are just coming in the room also, I am on Facebook, Tehuti Brown. Just type that in and it automatically comes up. You can friend request me and say that you're from the Podclass, and we'll go from there. Okay. I'm gonna check the emails one last time, and okay, let me give a couple of shout outs to those who gave support again. Let me go down here, and 9, wait a minute, is this? Oh, that's already done. Okay, and 8, 9. Okay, here we go. We have here, shout out to Robert E. Williams, just says support, keep teaching, bro. $20 support. Thank you, Robert E. Williams. And I'm not sure if that's your name in the chat room, but thank you for that support. Thank everybody. I give thanks for the support. I do spend hours doing this, and more things will be added to this Podclass. We just added the interactive where the brothers came in, spoke their piece, spoke their experience. And, you know, as far as this type of frequency of information and interaction and this type of question, this is the only place I've seen where people can do this and ask this question and then speak. So this is like, this is our gathering, our church, our temple, our, you know, this is the internet world. So especially with COVID, we can't expect everybody to go and meet face to face, one-on-one. People are catching COVID left and right. So this on Friday nights, this is our gathering. I appreciate the support from everybody. And as that sister says there at the bottom, as you can see, her pointing up, I appreciate, please support with the Cash App. Send questions, send support. I'll do my best to answer extremely thoroughly. If there's another place that is online, live like this, where questions are asked live and thorough answers like this are given, please send me the link so I can visit it. I would love to see. I cannot seem to find other people doing this, but I would like to see, and maybe we can link, and I could see, because I just see people gossiping about people on the conscious community, and I want to see more teachers. I'm trying to breed and design and influence more people to become actual factual teachers, and then in the future the factual teachers can come on here and say a little piece, break down a little bit of information, and be interactive into the class, similar to what you saw today. Today was just the introduction of the two brothers, AHATI and I call him Carlos, KEMETICNRG, you know, and it can keep on going like that. I do want interaction, especially with the questions. You guys can come up and ask questions. I also want to say, I don't know if the brother Mandarin is in the room. I saw you too late. I actually looked. Mandarin was actually the first Cash App given. He gave me a Cash App support right before class. So I want to shout him out. Mandarin gave me a Cash App, and then as the class was going on, I didn't see, let me look for his thing. I didn't see him in the room to get to his answer until way later. So I want to shout out to Mandarin. I'm going to see if I can find his Cash App. He actually sent it.
Tehuti.
Who's that? I'm not looking at the screen right now.
KEMETICNRG.
Oh, yes, brother.
Would you happen to have the link to my appearance on SABA show, Islamic Apologist?
No, because let me get back to the screen. 1 second, but I'm looking for OG Mandarin.
Sure.
Yeah, wait, maybe it's in my it's in here. He sent a support even before the class started, and I was under like Timothy. Here it is. So let me give a shout out to the brother, because he actually sent this, and I didn't get to the question. He sent me a list of questions, and I actually didn't get to him. I didn't see him in the room until just recently, and then I don't see him again. Let me go ahead and save this, and we'll call this 10. So I just wanted to give him a shout out, because he's always supporting and always asking questions, and he likes to ask questions about a PEP, And let me go ahead and put but there he is, OG Mandarin, because we're about to close out. I did not see you in the room, Mandarin, until way later after I started getting into these answers. You were actually going to be the first I was going to answer because you sent the Cash App question before the room even started, but I didn't want to just go ahead and answer and you're not even there. Let me go ahead and put you up. You're up here, but Mandarin always supports. He'll be cool if I answer it next time or something, because he is very dedicated and very supportive of what I do, and I always I think I've given him 2 Killer Priest shows, one on Bennett the Jeb and one on the Apep and the asteroid called Apophis. So he knows I always give him his due diligent answers. Let me go ahead and is this him? Let's see. Q Mandarin for that support. I will get to you sent me about 5 questions. I will get to them. I just saw you too late. Okay, but thank you, my brother. You know that definitely get to you. KEMETICNRG, you wanted to say something?
Oh yes, there were a few people asking about the link for my first debate premiere appearance. I sent you that link maybe 3 months ago. I was just asking maybe in our thread, you still had that link, and if you did, would you be able to share it in the chat room?
Oh, I'd have to look for it, because that was a conversation. There's so much conversations we've had since that. I'd have to keep scrolling up and look for it.
Yeah, I got a text. I got a text from Brother Reggie, and Brother Reggie asked me to come on show and guest with him. And the subject being Islamic apology. It's a good debate.
Is the Signature show? Sorry, does the Signature show have your name in the title?
No, I don't believe so. Brother Reggie name is in the title. There's two.
Okay, I'd have to scroll.
And if you know Morpheus parents too, a very intelligent brother.
Yeah, I'd have to scroll for it. If you can scroll up the conversations and find it, and just resend me it, then I can show people. But I can't do that right now. It's too much, way too much scrolling up, because that was some months ago. We've had many conversations.
Since I know we didn't get the opportunity to discuss any of the things you and I discussed. Something that ranks among many different topics that ranks referring to his helium-3. I would be interested in possibly next week us getting into helium-3.
Okay, good. For right now, KEMETICNRG, everybody's saying that you have major mic feedback and echo. I can hear you clear, but they're saying you have major mic feedback and echo. But I can hear, he said he wanted to get into helium-3. Maybe we'll do that next week. I can hear you clear, but I don't think the audience is hearing you too clearly, so I'm repeating what you're saying to them.
Good. A majority of what I was at the beginning, what I was sharing with the two of them. So if they're not hearing me properly, they're not going to know where to find what they were looking for, so that they can see me on the debate stage.
So they can hear.
They're saying
take off the earpiece. So if you can find that link, I'll put it up. It's too much for me to go scroll right now, but maybe next week we can talk about the helium-3 topic, We've run out of time now. Somebody's screaming his earpiece, take it off. So I don't know. They're going crazy in the chat.
I actually thought that was being helpful. And the thing is, I can't communicate.
Yeah. Now I can't hear you now. Okay, no problem. We're gonna fix this and come back fresh. Come back fresh next week, and maybe even do some mic tests before you start to do a long talk of something. Okay, let me look one more time at the. Let me go one more time and see if there's any last minute supports before we close up. Yep, we do. We have a last minute support from this name, which the brother actually explained this name, so now I still can't say it, but he said it's Dracula backwards, so we'll just call him Dracula backwards because I can't say this word. Blacksukard. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and show this and give a shout out to this brother here who gave support here. Thank you so much, and let me put it on the screen. This is from Black Lulard. I can't say the name, but Dracula backwards. We'll just call him that. Dracula backwards. Here he is. If anybody can, this is his name. Black's Alucard. Dracula backwards. Thank you, my brother, for the support. Last minute support before we close up. Let me go back into the comments and give a shout out to everybody before we close. It's been a wonderful wonderful Podclass here. We're going to give a shout out to Brenda Castro and Sonia Reddit for putting up Sundays, my Sunday class on the Sonetta show. Shout out to Kemet 101 for the support consistently. Mandarin consistently. Shannon for your great energy. AI Vasquez for your good energy and support. Everybody, Robert Reyes who is always supporting. We have so many people in the room. Thank you all. I'm gonna also, before we close out, put thank you. She said this is wonderful as usual. Thank you. I'm going to put up and Jody, of course Jody, of course. Let me go ahead and do this. I want everybody to come this Sunday. A lot of people are giving me are saying this, and I want to respond to this. I don't want people to look at it like this. A lot of people don't like they call it Sonetta shenanigans and different kind of buffoonery that they see on the show. And they say, I'm not going to support that, I'm not going to watch that. I want everybody to know that when I go on there, you're supporting and watching me. There is no buffoonery coming from my end. So you're watching and supporting me. And Sonetta, when I'm on, is actually very respectful now. He's not like he was before on that time when I debated Zion Lex. He's actually extremely respectful. Everything is smooth on his show when I'm on. And you know, I appreciate you all watching, and you know that when I get on there, I'm going to drop information that nobody else is. So I want everybody to have that attitude and not let the negativity and the Black Jesus ministers and all the buffoonery take over, because just like any TV channel, just like CNN, ABC, just like any of those channels that we know is overall we're not supporting CNN, but if somebody comes on CNN teaching the truth, that's what you support. So I'm going to show this to those who just came in the room. On the way out, I want to let everybody know what is happening this Sunday, 5 p.m. my time, that's Pacific, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time, and it's going to be me on there for, actually there's no time period, it could be 2 hours, and I'm going to be breaking down some information that will not be able to be bombarded. There will be no buffoonery, there will be no setups, there will be no because this thing I'm going to break down will be unheard of by the audience and the people and the people that are part of Sonetter. It's going to kind of blow people away, and that's what I want. I want to shake the building so that we can start moving on to some higher refined topics, and not just the Bible is trash, the Bible is trash, the Bible is trash, the Bible is trash every day. I want to kind of shake it up a little bit and show that knowledge can be broken down without attacking anybody. You do not have to attack someone else in order to teach your lesson. I'm going to show forth that tomorrow. So that's a Sunday. So everybody tune in to Sonetter, and you will see that. And so I'm going to say peace. We have Jody with the great build. We have Shannon with the fire. We have Batch. These names. Thank you, Tehuti. You're welcome, Batcher FKN. Thank you, everybody. Shannon says she's looking forward to it. Brenda Castro put up the symbols. And we have Cash Payton. I will definitely send some cash apps when I get the money. Right? Wonderful. Thank you. There's no rush. There's no pressure. Just support when you can. Okay? So on that note, it's been 3 hours and 48 minutes. I want to say peace and love. Peace AHATI on the panel. Peace KEMETICNRG on the panel. I'm going to put it on my screen. I'll put it on here for you, AHATI. You can just say peace real quick. Solar panel. There you go. Oh, we have the same thing in the background. Go ahead.
Yeah, great build tonight. There's a loud echo. Great build tonight. I want to thank everybody for coming on to the Podclass. And as usual, you know, the show on Sunday will be fire, so please come. Believe me, I don't feel Sonetter either, but I'm there to support Tehuti. Peace.
Peace. Peace, y'all. If I'm not echoing now, you can check out that debate on side. Sonetter, TV, Brother Reggie, Peace.
Okay. Put it back on the screen. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your support. I hope everyone enjoyed. This is Neith right here. My spider from South Africa. That is a unicorn on her head. She is a unicorn. That is actually a horn on her head. She's a unicorn spider from Zimbabwe area. They're supposed to be one of the most aggressive spiders in the world. I've had her since she was a baby, and I keep her in the palm of my hand, and she stays on my hat all day. I want to say peace to everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming. This is Zebra. Zebra says peace and love to everyone. This is one of my many serpents. And everybody show up on Sunday, for the class. And starting from next week, I'm going to inform Killer Priest that I am feeling great. And any Monday that he wants me on, he can request me on, and I will do my best to come into the studio and come on. Okay. So peace and love to everybody. Ahati Ma'at, Brenda Castro, Robert Reyes, Sonia Reddit, Jody, peace. Shabbat. We got Zulu. I support SA for over 10 years now. Nice. That for over 10 hours. Okay, I think it's years. But okay. Support to you. So respect to you. Saw promoting your build last night. So, Saw was promoting the build. Thank you, Shaba Zulu. Okay, he was. Nice. Thank you. And of course to Kemet 101. This podcast is going to grow 10 times. Very chill vibes from Shannon. We have Asiatic Soldier. Blessings. Peace and blessings, good brother. Chill vibes. Peace, Neathans and Zebra. Wonderful. Peace and love, everybody. Robert Reyes, you're always great. Peace and love, and thank you for your support. Ma'at Opesh, nice. Peace, Jody. Peace, everyone. See you next Friday, 7 o'clock. Actually, I'll see you this Sunday on Sonetter, and see you next Friday for the next Tehuti Podclass. Peace and love, all knowledge, no drama. Love everybody, and talk to you all soon. Peace. Wait a minute, everybody. When I was talking and closing out, press a 1 if everybody could hear me. My thing was on. When I was giving shout outs and peace to everybody, was everybody hearing me? Because when I looked down, it said mute. I don't know what that was about. Could everybody hear me? And you brothers, put your mic on mute. There's a lot of noise in the background. Okay, you guys can hear me when I was closing out. Okay, good. Thank you again. Peace and love, everybody. And we will do the proper closeouts. And here we go. Peace.